What's up, guys? How's it going? Little game night on a Saturday night. It's a little bit unusual stream, of course. I've seen everybody in the comment section, the chat. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate it. Drop a like for us. But, there's some potential big ramifications. The Ant-Man is here, Anthony DiBona. Potential ramifications for the Eagles, or I guess there are ramifications for the Eagles and who they might play as the 6th seed with this game. So figured, why not? What better way? Saturday night, hang out. It'll be a stream. Got you covered with a play-by-play. I'm going to keep up to date as much as I can with the clock and the scoreboard and everything else, so just follow along. But hang out, cheer on whatever the best outcome is, and feel free. I put the poll up there to say, which team do you want to win? You want the Seahawks or the 49ers? Currently, the Seahawks are 62% in terms of winning, and we were talking about this right before we went live. But Anthony, if you were cheering on one of the sides, are you going with the Seahawks or are you going with the Niners?
Well, it's kind of weird, right? Because it feels like there's a good and bad to both scenarios, right? Because like one way you can avoid the Rams, you could potentially avoid the Rams, which some people are scared of. I'm not particularly scared of the Rams. I think the 49ers, and we've talked about this in your most recent video, which people should also watch. Maybe at halftime, they can go check that out. But I think the 49ers probably scare me the most. So I might actually be leaning towards the 49ers. So they would get the 1 seed but then that would lock you into the Rams, right? I believe. So it's just like all these different hurdles that you got to jump through. Seems like people want the Seahawks to win, and then because it seems like they might be the easier team to play later on than the other ones. It all depends on how you feel about each team, which team's hot right now. Because obviously, and I spoke about it in the recent video, was with the 49ers. They just seem they're on a scorching hot streak right now, right? But if they lose to the Seahawks, now all of a sudden it's like the Seahawks are kind of similar to the Eagles in a way with how dominant their defense is. So if you view those matchups similarly, now do you feel better about playing the 49ers if they got shut down by the Seahawks, right? Especially since the 49ers are at home. So it's going to be a fun
Sure.
game to watch. I'm going to have my imaginary binoculars on, doing a little scouting, seeing who to take advantage for the Eagles, and maybe I'll forward that along to my imaginary contacts inside the organization.
There you go. Because, Anthony has called quite a bit in terms of signings, free agency, everything else. And Devin, yes, Ant-Man on a game stream. It's going to be a good year. It is opening to 2026. Happy New Year to everybody. I've seen or said that. I think, today is like the last official day. Someone was joking about that. The last official day you could wish someone a Happy New Year. It's like, then it gets too far beyond. So Happy New Year, everybody. Hopefully you brought in the new year the right way. I'm seeing a lot of people saying, I guess I've seen more people saying Seahawks. There's a couple that are saying the 49ers, but the vast majority in terms of the Seahawks so far for the comment section. Again, the poll itself is 60% Seahawks, 40% for the 49ers. And I know it's difficult. You don't necessarily have to. Tamisa, I think, says I'm rooting for a tie. I don't even know what that does for us. Who's
I don't
going to
even want to
play
think
who?
about
Because we
that.
talked about it, wins and losses. That'll change it, I guess. But either way, at least that we're in a better spot than some other teams. Like, heck, if we were the Bucks, for example, right? You just beat the Carolina Panthers. That didn't do anything for you. I mean, it saved you to make sure, right? Because you couldn't lose and you'd be out. But they won the game. They have to get the Saints to beat the Falcons tomorrow, and I think the Saints are not going to have Chris Olave. So who knows? But it'd be ridiculous if you're going to have one of the squads that ends up making the playoffs and it's like, oh, hey, 8-9, hosting a playoff game, and one of these teams is most likely, could be the Rams. We did talk about that. But one of these teams tonight is probably going to be traveling to Carolina or Tampa Bay to take on one of those teams for the first round. So it's always nuts. There's always at least one, if not a couple teams, schedule record-wise, that are like, wait, so they barely snuck in and they're hosting a playoff game?
It would be pretty crazy, right? Especially if, like you said, that the scenario happens where the Bucks won, but they still don't make it. So the Panthers would be doing the definition of backing into the playoffs, right? Coming off of
Yeah.
basically
Hmm.
what should have been a must-win game, but it technically wasn't. Where they'll still be in, they'll still be hosting the game, but you never know. Once you get to the postseason, it's that one game. Anything can happen. Any weird fluky turnover, the weather can play a factor, and then you don't know what could really happen at the end of the day. So just get into the postseason, which is kind of what I've been saying about the Eagles all along. I didn't really care too much what seed they were and things like that. Just get in, and then it's starting from square one for everybody.
There we go. For people asking, by the way, we are streaming, I think both of us, through the ESPN version. Now, you can watch ESPN or ABC, depending on where you're at, what you choose to go with. I will give play-by-play as good as I can, just to promise to do my best here. But we'll keep you up to date with that, the score clock, and the scoreboard and everything else there. But if you want to sync up in terms of ESPN, I'll give as much as I can down in distance and time of possession. So it looks like we're getting the national anthem, I believe, getting close to that time there. And let's see, where was the other one? Oh, yes. Okay. Well, there's some takes in here that are not as positive. Coach Josh Steele with the Eagles with this offense are one and done regardless. So there's still some pessimism, which the offense has not been good at all. But defense has been unreal. And if they could be just average, even slightly below average, they're still probably good enough. But we'll see. That's what makes this playoffs, I think, more than any other. It's total, like, who knows? You look at the Super Bowl favorites, you look at the NFC or the NFC favorites to even just make the Super Bowl, and there's not a clear-cut, like, ridiculous favorite, where in usual past years you can look at conferences and go like, okay, hey, that's the team, or there's two teams for major front runners, and that's it. The Rams' losses the last couple weeks totally shook up the standings because they were looking like that team in terms of the favorites and the betting favorites on that side, and now that's not the case. I mean, 6 seed, maybe 5. We should also mention just real quickly that the Eagles can get the 2 seed. Tonight's game does not necessarily affect that, but the 2 seed is in play.
Yeah, because that's still the scenario where if the Lions do upset the Bears and the Eagles are able to beat the Commanders, then the Eagles do get the 2 seed, right? So that's still technically a possibility. This is the more likely outcome where they'll be playing one of the 2 teams that's playing tonight, because those are their only 3 potential opponents. They're not going to be able to play the Seahawks. I'm sorry. It's either going to be the 49ers, the Rams, or the Packers. Those are their 3 potential opponents, regardless of what happens tonight. They can't play the Seahawks, but it is a very real chance that they could play the 49ers in the first round. So it's going to be interesting to watch this game, see how these offenses and defenses function, especially the 49ers defense, because although their offense has been on fire, their defense has kind of been on the opposite of fire. They've been on ice, where they've just been allowing a ton of points.
Yeah.
Still winning in kind of college, like Oregon back in the day shootouts, where they would just outscore their opponents by just enough. So we'll see if going into the playoffs, it's like which would you rather? It's an offense that looks unstoppable or a defense that looks unstoppable. I lean more towards defense, and maybe that's just my bias toward the Eagles, but I think that's a better scenario to have going into the playoffs, where you have a quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over, a lockdown defense, and then just let the chips fall where they may.
Defense wins championships. We will say that. DIY, I'm not sure if this is in relate maybe to a different comment, but said, no, we play Niners/Seahawks with a Chicago win. Could be the Rams. Again, there's 3 teams as we've been talking about. So it depends on what happens here in these games and who wins. The Rams can actually bump up and get into the 5 seed, but they can also be the 6 seed if the Seahawks were to, or the 49ers were to win, because the Seahawks, the worst that they can finish is 5 seed, even if they lose tonight. So just, again, I'm sure we'll reiterate that a million different times during the stream. But Demons, what's up with the 2? Says, fellas, how's it going? I think it's just like, what's up? But we'll take it. How you doing?
How you doing?
Shout out to all the UPS drivers out there, but shout out to Demons.
That's it. Especially this time of year. A lot of returns now going back to the companies after Christmas. I said it before, I worked for FedEx for like 5 years or so, and holiday season is no joke. Respect to all those delivery workers and everybody else out there.
Doing the Lord's work. Shout out to you guys. Aisha with the 10 bomb. Here we go. Hi, Josh and Ant-Man. Hello. I don't want the 49ers to win because 1 seed will give them all home playoff games, including the Super Bowl, but our defense can make Sam Darnold see ghosts, and they can be last year's Lions. Go Birds. It's fair. I mean, to me, if they have home field advantage, like, whatever. Like, we're gonna play them at some point. If we had to, we wouldn't play them in the Super Bowl, obviously. So, I hear you there, Aisha, but like, someone's gonna have to have the 1 seed and home field throughout, assuming that they win. But we haven't seen that in others. So, I mean, either way.
Yeah, I think both the Rams and the 49ers, right? Like, either one of their home field advantages, to me, doesn't really exist, especially when you're playing a team like the Eagles. We've seen Eagles fans take over both of those stadiums in recent years, and the Rams can't have home field advantage over the Eagles this time around. But if the Eagles do have to travel to San Francisco, I don't think that would be much of a disadvantage for the Eagles. Whereas I think Seattle, now that's a real home field advantage, right? I mean, going back to those Legion of Boom teams, right? Like, that's not a place that you want to play. And now this time around they've been waiting quite a bit to have that advantage once again in the postseason. So I think that would be kind of a tough matchup from that standpoint. But overall, I've said it over and over again, the Eagles can beat any of these teams, in my opinion. I don't think they should be big underdogs or anything like that to any of these potential opponents in the playoffs at all.
Yep, and they won't be. Well, they could if it was the Rams in terms of underdog, but not a big one. And we mentioned this on the last video. But to reiterate for people that did not hear this, the hypothetical lines, the favorites who Vegas would suggest, assuming who the Eagles would play, or hypotheticals out there, are if the Eagles host the Rams, the Eagles would be 1.5 point underdogs at home, the opening line. If they were to play the 49ers, they would be 2.5 point favorites. The Eagles would be 2.5 point favorites at home. And if they were to play the Packers at home, then they would be 3 point favorites. So understandable that, yeah, the Packers, for a lot of people, take them. I like it more so just in the fact that you have the 2 seed. But again, there's not a guarantee. So if the Eagles win, the Lions could lose, or the Bears could win, however you want to look at that, and it doesn't matter. Or maybe it'll be the most frustrating. I know people say you should have played your starters. If the Lions beat the Bears and the Eagles end up losing, then it'll be like, told you, But that's hindsight's 2020, and like you just not know anything for sure. Although I did see the comment a second ago. I forgot who mentioned this. I apologize, but apparently, I guess the Lions are 4-0 under Dan Campbell in Week 18. I have not fact checked that. I'm just seeing it in the comment section. I'm going to take your word for it. I would have to go back and double check. I can think of one in particular, or I guess 2. So maybe. But we're getting close to kickoff, which will keep you guys up to date on the play-by-play. Nick with a 5. Welcome to the New Year, guys. I honestly fear no team and would love breaking San Francisco early. I enjoy beating them no matter what. I'm not worried. Defense. There we go. There's some offense.
Defense is the ultimate equalizer, it seems like, in regards to, I know the Eagles, can they score more than 13 points in the game? Well, I guess we'll see when the playoffs start, but that defense gives me confidence against anybody.
I think you had shared it was like 16 points, averaging 16 points against like winning teams or playoff teams, something like that for the Eagles the last several games. So Dylan with a 5, kind of upset resting the offense with a 2 seed on the line, especially getting to host Green Bay. That's almost a guaranteed dub. I know that's a lot of the comments there, but looks like we are underway here. So we can go ahead and start this clock, get the first quarter action going. The kickoff to the Seahawks. So they'll get the ball first. And there's a flag already. Look at that.
What is this, an Eagles game? Flag opening kickoff? What's going on here? I mean, but that's already a win for the 49ers, because if it means that Rashid Shaheed is not returning anything, because he's a dangerous receiver and it's a dangerous returner. So getting him to just kneel in the end zone, that seems like a win for the 49ers, although I believe they were called for a penalty. So, I mean, not great starting field position. Well, for the 49ers, with them already being almost at the Seahawks, almost being at midfield. So we'll see how this goes.
Okay. Let's see. Ball officially on the 30. So it's a legal formation on Seattle. So actually bumping them back 5 yards. Okay. So ball on the 30. Ooh. If you need to.
I think we're good.
Okay. As I say, if you need to jump, I know family and everything else, but first down play, pass to the right side, and there is Shaheed. Gain of about 2 yards, brings up a 2nd and 8. Ball to the 32.
Can we just talk about Abraham Lucas's neck roll that he's rocking right there, looking like Mike Allstott back in the day?
You don't see too many of those.
That's an impressive look right there. I believe Cam Latu started rocking one of those recently.
I like it. I think the yards per carry goes up just normally. You wear one of those, the more players on your team. Kenneth Walker, handoff right side. Good blockers. And picks up a pretty easy first down before he's thrown out of bounds. Gain of 9 yards up to the Seattle 41.
Yeah, this Seahawks backfield is so like dynamic between Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. It seemed like Charbonnet was getting more of the work in recent weeks, but Kenneth Walker is getting them started in this game so far. And it's nice to see tight ends actually making their blocks on the outside. So something that Eagles fans that are watching might not be too familiar with.
No, not when we're talking about Grant Calcaterra, the worst of qualifying tight ends in blocking win rate, and Cam Jurgens, the worst in blocking win rate out of qualified centers. But we won't go there. We won't go there. We're continuing 1st and 10 now. Ball on the 41. Sam Darnold dropping back, play action, screen pass. Kenneth Walker, plenty of room, blockers in front, up to the 40 into San Francisco territory, and finally tripped up at the 38-yard line. That's a gain of 20 right there.
That's the 49ers defense that we were talking about right before kickoff, right? They put up a ton of points on offense, but that defense is awfully leaky. And you see it there with the screen pass on first down from under center, taking advantage of kind of the 49ers defense getting a little aggressive after the Seattle got a first down. So kind of those old school Andy Reid screen plays to the running back, and big gain for them.
Yeah, that's. I think their hope is going to be just to try to force a turnover. Like that. That'd be my early takeaway and thought, because the defense, as you said, not great at all for San Francisco. Here's a run to Zach Charbonnet up the middle, big hole, and actually tripped up there. It looked like he had a little bit more to go, but still picks up 6 yards despite that. Ball to the 33 of San Francisco. It'll be a 2nd and 4.
Yep, Charbonnet. There he is. Like I said, Kenneth Walker with a big gain. You can tell like that thunder and lightning. Charbonnet is a little bit bigger, a little bit more powerful. Run it right down the middle with him, and now they can kind of ping pong them back and forth. And then they haven't even thrown to JSN or anybody like that yet. So still a ton of opportunity for the Seahawks offense.
There it is. Shout out to Darth Panda, member for 7 months. People need to see it both ways, because someone can get hurt in talking about the Eagles resting players or not, and that is true. You never know. Here's a 2nd and 4. Ball on the 33-yard line of the Niners. It's another handoff. Charbonnet, that time met in the middle immediately. A great tackle blown up there. And that's going to be Mustafa. I don't think he gained a yard at all. Brings us up 3rd and 4.
Yeah, Malik Mustafa is a guy that I actually liked coming out of the draft a couple years ago. He's a safety, but he's like more of an enforcer. He doesn't mind coming flying down into the box and getting his pads dirty, as you see on that play right there. So one of the lone bright spots in that San Francisco defense that's been relatively underwhelming this season so far.
Dare the Niners get a 3rd down stop? Not a great defense, but if they could, that'd be pretty massive on this opening drive, the way it started out. Darnold in the gun, takes the snap, looking right side, nowhere to go, little pressure, now back over the middle, complete to his tight end. That's a 1st down up to the 24-yard line, pushing now to the 23 maybe. And that's Saubert, I believe. I'm not quite familiar with the tight end there. I was familiar with A.J. Barner and Arroyo, but not as much with Saubert.
I believe that's Eric Saubert. I think he was the one that caught the game-winning touchdown a week or two ago. And like that, this is what we talked about before. We were just talking about the 49ers as a whole, just their lack of a pass rush, right? They just can't get to the quarterback, and they weren't able to do so there. Sam Darnold had a bunch of time, found the tight end for a 1st down.
Yep. Going quick here. The Seahawks, I formation at the 24, handoff Kenneth Walker, right side, now bounces back up to the middle, breaks a couple tackles, or at least guys missing a tackle, it up to the 15-yard line, a gain of 8 yards.
Yeah, it feels like the 49ers are racking up these missed tackles so far to begin, especially with Kenneth Walker whenever he has the ball. And now he comes out, Charbonnet comes in, and they're just going to keep the tempo going.
Might as well. You got them on their heels. And like you said, if they don't have a great pass rush to begin with. So you could play a lot of that. DiBona's with a 2. Appreciate that, man. Says, I don't want to play Seattle at home. Okay, well, they're currently on a really good drive right now. We got a long game to go. We'll see how it shakes out. Here's a 2nd and 2. Another run, left side. Charbonnet bounces it, breaks a tackle or makes a man miss, and then able to pick up a pretty easy 1st down to the 10-yard line. Gain of 6, and it'll be 1st and goal.
This is the demoralizing start for the 49ers defense, right? It just feels like the Seahawks are getting whatever they want. Even when they did have them in 3rd down, they were able to convert, and it's not looking too good because they cannot get a stop on either one of these running backs that Seattle has out there.
Yeah, it's almost, ushering them in to whatever they want to do. Like these run calls, even at times when there's like, hey, they get the first man back there in the backfield, they make one man miss, and there's nobody else to clean up. 9th play of the drive here, 1st and goal at the 10-yard line. Darnold's going to throw, drop him back, looking right side, has his man JSN, and there's a penalty in the end zone.
Yep, and that's against 49ers, their best corner, Diamade Nonoer, who seemed like he was going to draw the JSN match. Robert Saleh was asked before the game if he was going to play him man-to-man and kind of figure things out outside of that matchup, just let his top guy go against their top guy. That first matchup, first target, goes in JSN's favor. So it looks like it's going to be Seahawks ball right at the 1-yard line.
There you go. Now it's pretty easy where they're at now. They get him at the 1-yard line, 1st and goal. going to stop the clock and reset it here real quick. Back to the 9:37. Well, you got plenty of opportunities here. You could go with a whole lot of different things. My thought is, and if you did anything of fantasy football, daily fantasy, anything at all, and you had Kenneth Walker, you know what's coming. Zach Charbonnet is in the ballgame, not Kenneth Walker, because
This is not what you want to see if you're a Kenneth Walker.
No, but you've suffered through it to begin with. So
Oh.
here's a no run. Sam Darnold's going to drop back, and he's sacked. He could not find his man. That's surprising to not actually run the ball there, and that's a sack for a loss of 11 yards back to the San Francisco 12.
Would you look at that? A Seahawks team getting a little bit too cute on the 1 yard line. Where have I seen this before? Reminds me of the Super Bowl all the time back. Charbonnet was wide open in the flat, and Darnold just didn't look his way for some reason. Maybe he was a third or fourth read on that play, but it seemed like a wide open pass, and now they're backed up to the 12-yard line.
Oh, yeah, I was getting ready to just say his name. That's why I was so shocked. But 19 sacks on the season for the Niners, 7 fewer than the second-to-last place team. This time a run to Charbonnet right side, has a hole, pushing forward and up to about the 7-yard line, brings up a 3rd and goal. And if only you'd run that on the 1st and goal from the 1.
Yeah, this is looking like a Kevin Patullo offense right now. I mean, they got all the way down to the 1 yard line. It seemed like they had the plan right in front of them, just run the ball there at least 3 straight times, and they won't be able to stop it. But they got cute, got backed up, and now we'll see what they can do on 3rd down.
The Niners will gladly take 3 points. If they only allow 3 points here, they will certainly take that. You know, get to a 1st and goal from the 1 most of the time, and don't give up anything. A-Kane Shogun says, playoff Darnold looking goofy. The miss there. 1 on the play clock. They're not going to get it off. They're going to have to take a timeout. And they do. You got to burn one.
I really jinxed them there by saying it looked like a Kevin Patullo offense because back-to-back questionable play calls. Now you have to waste the timeout early in the 1st quarter. This is after such a great start to this drive. It's looking like the Seahawks are starting to kind of shoot themselves in the claws instead of their feet right now.
I like that. I like that, sir. Looks like we'll get... Well, actually, I don't know. I was going to say it is a timeout, but it doesn't look like we're going to get a commercial break. 8:09 to play. I did update the clock, so for people that are wondering, give you a time, down and distance, and everything as well for people trying to sync up. But we got a little quick going here, so trying to manage the scoreboard and a little play-by-play. We're going pretty fast for the first opening possession, but Seahawks back, big 3rd and goal. See what they got called here. Darnold in the gun. It's going to be a handoff. Charbonnet up the middle, and he's stopped at the 5-yard line. It's an interesting call from the 7 to just hand off inside zone. 2-yard gain brings up 4th and goal.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that makes sense is if you're going to go for it on 4th down. So we'll see if they're going to do that here shortly. But that is definitely a head-scratching call by the Seahawks in that scenario. It seemed like an obvious pass situation. And it looks like they are going to line up to go for it. So we'll see.
Okay. Yep. You called it. They are going for it. It's officially at the Niners 4-yard line. So here we go. 4-yard line, 4th and goal. 7:30 to play in the 1st quarter. 5 on the play clock. 4-3. Darnold takes the snap of the gun, looking left side, and he's going to throw for his man. Incomplete. No flags. That's a turnover on downs. He wanted it, but no flags.
Yeah, and it looked like he had a tight end. I don't know if it was Barner or Saubert running across left to right into that right corner of the end zone. Just didn't look his way at all. Once again, it seemed like it was more of a predetermined play. And I think it was A.J. Barner, 88, breaking wide open to the right, and he just went to Cooper Kupp in the corner instead, looking for the flag. Did not go their way. That's a bad start for Seattle after such a promising opening drive, marching down the field. Now it's 49ers ball, and they're going to be able to march.
Man, and look at that. Just it's overthinking it. You know, like you said, the ball was on the 1-yard line, 1st and goal from the 1. Now, I know that the tush push for the Eagles in the scenario has not been as effective, but still from the 1-yard line there, you don't have to get cute. You certainly don't want to take a sack. And as a couple others were saying before, it's playoff Sam Darnold. We're getting him a little bit early. It's a big game deciding the NFC West, but man, it's a head scratcher on that one. Matt with a 5. Appreciate that, Matt. We want Seattle to win, 49ers to go to the 5th seed, beat the 4th seed, then beat the Seahawks in the 2nd round, and the Eagles get 3 home games.
Sounds good to me. Sign me up for that for sure. And
yep.
Just going back to that last sequence, I don't understand. They felt like they were averaging like 6 or 7 yards a carry every time they gave it to either one of their running backs, and to go away from it when you get to literally the 1 yard line, it just didn't make any sense to me at all.
No, not at all. Yeah, John said run it 3 times. That it's the crazy part though that yeah, like they decided to not run it at the 1 yard line. Then you're backed up to the 12 and you run it 2 straight times, and then you're at the 4 and you go okay, now let's you're kind of forced to throw, I guess, but they still could have. That's it's not always. We're not trying to make excuses here for Kevin Patullo for Eagles fans, but there's other play callers, as you called out, or actually just kind of praising Jalen Carter for some recognition of some plays against the Bills. And it seemed like some Buffalo fans saw that tweet and weren't as much of a fan of Joe Brady.
It's crazy, right? Because we think following the Eagles all season as closely as we do, everybody talks about Kevin Patullo's struggles and how terrible he looks. But you look around the league and the guys that many Eagles fans would be clamoring for, like a guy like Joe Brady, apparently Bills fans hate him and they think he just calls the same plays over and over again. So maybe the grass isn't always greener, as we like to say.
Yeah, although I think all of us would pretty quickly take a Joe Brady versus a Kevin Patullo. But Jake Bobo over there in the middle too. I mean, he had him if he wanted to throw it.
He was open.
Different
I think Barner was breaking open. It would just seem like a predetermined. He saw him get hit, which he did. But you can't always just look for the flag, especially the way these officials have been going these last couple of weeks. You cannot rely on these refs to make any calls.
Okay, well, turnover on downs. We'll get to the other super chats here once we get another stoppage. But first down play, it's a run to Christian McCaffrey, gain of about 2, maybe 3 yards, and that'll start the first series for the Niners.
Yeah, this Seattle defensive front is no joke, and you saw it right there on that first play. I mean, the 49ers have basically been getting whatever they wanted at will, and it's going to be really fun to see this scorching hot offense against such a stout defense.
Yeah, the Seahawks, what is it, second in points per game allowed, first in rush defense, one of the best overall, like you said, even just EPA per play. Very interesting. 2 strengths going up against each other. Purdy here on 2nd and 7 throws left side. That's complete up to the 11-yard line, so it brings up a quick 3rd down. That time, Kyle Juszczyk with the 5-yard gain up to the 12.
And it's also worth noting, too, with this 49ers offense, they're without Trent Williams, their starting left tackle, and Ricky Pearsall is not playing either. So 2 guys that many thought were going to play this week, they're without 2 of their top offensive players, especially Trent Williams, regarded as one of the best, if not the best, left tackles in the league. So we'll see if this 49ers offense can stay rolling.
It's a good call out. Big miss, especially against the Seahawks. 3rd and 3. Purdy dropping back, looking right side here, intended Juwan Jennings and way overthrows him, incomplete.
Yes, and he targeted everybody's favorite Eagles trade target, Tariq Woolen, on that play. Did not allow. He's been very good this season. I was one of the ones that was kind of saying he wasn't a great option for the Eagles as a potential trade target, but he's been nearly shut down all season long. His numbers are almost up there with Quinyon Mitchell's. So, like I said, this Seattle defense is no joke, and we see it right there on that first drive for the 49ers.
Well, defense will bail you out, even though you don't capitalize on some scoring. The fact that Seattle has the defense that it does, it's going to be a quick punt for the Niners, and gets it away here. Morstead, who's not had a whole lot of success or not usage. Shaheed fields at the 40, room to run up to the 49-yard line. Pretty good gain there, and that's where the Seahawks will take over for their second possession.
Yep, looks like we got another flag as well. So apparently the Seahawks can't have a return.
Nope,
without a penalty.
Oh, it's going to go in Seattle's favor. So they had it at the 49. There's a face mask from the Niners, so it's a 15-yard tack on there, and that'll be, oh, my math's not great, the 36, I think, of the Niners, 15 yards.
I mean, you couldn't have asked for a much better start for the Seahawks as far as their field position goes after that penalty. I mean, they're going to be damn near in the red zone with their first play to start.
They'll take that one, yeah. All right, try again. It messed up the first time, but you're in a good spot. So Seattle with the ball. They'll have it whenever we come back from break. Couple other super chats. Appreciate you guys. Make sure to drop a like if you haven't already. We're hanging out, as I mentioned, for the early ones in the stream, but just ramifications for the Eagles. Obviously, you can see in the background, we're a little bit of bias here, but calling the game. Interested to see how this thing shakes out for Philly. Yeah, just block it off.
Just cover it up.
Yeah, well, the shirts and
That's
everything.
oh,
Aisha
show this one off.
with the
Got this one
10.
for Christmas.
Yeah, hey, that one's pretty
Shout out to
dope
my
there.
wife.
Heck yeah. Aisha with a 10. Pronounce oh, Aisha. Okay, I was saying Aisha, but it's Aisha. Well, thank you. I appreciate like Aisha. Okay, I've been saying Aisha because I
Get it
just
together,
assumed. But
Josh. Come on.
my apologies. I appreciate the phonetics there. Aisha. Okay, the 10 bomb. Appreciate that. I like 49ers defense. I like 49ers. Hang on. I like 49ers defense. Might make. Oh, I say. Okay, sorry. I was. Okay. I got to read the whole thing. I like 49ers defense. Might make our offense look good. LOL. I'm also excited to see Tanner in action tomorrow. And you think they'll let Smitty get his 1,000 yards? Go Birds. No, they will not let Smitty get his 1,000 yards. I do believe that he'll get paid his bonuses. A lot of people going like, oh, they're going to forfeit those, blah, blah. Anthony's mentioned this in the past. They do it quite often. They're going to, you know, they'll make sure the players are taken care of. If they didn't get to play because they're resting them, they'll be fine. But I cannot imagine you're going to go, well, let's go ahead and get Smitty out there real quick and try to quickly throw it to him, get his yards, and take him out.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back at last season, they didn't let Saquon go and break a literal record, right? So I don't think they're just going to worry about him getting 1,000 yards, which is something that he's done twice before. And I think I wrote about that on Twitter and I mentioned it. And like Josh just said, they've been a team that has paid players their bonuses that they were just on the cusp of getting beforehand. And I think Saquon also has one where it's like a certain amount of total scrimmage yards or something like that they're probably going to pay him out. And I don't know if Devontae Smith has a bonus for 1,000 yards, but regardless, I think he'll be just fine taking a week off and getting some rest.
For sure, yes. I would get to the others as well. Shout out to, we're getting back to action, but Nick, the 5 Philly Special Show memberships, congratulations. 5 people getting those. And Seahawks with the ball here now, 1st and 10 after the face mask in the 35 of the 49ers, a run up the middle, Kenneth Walker, this time only about 3 yards. So in a sense, that's kind of a win for San Francisco defense. Brings up a 2nd and 7.
Yeah, but once again, 3 yards right there. I mean, that was an achievement for the 49ers defense. I still don't know how they didn't go back to running the ball once they got to the 1 yard line. Just don't overthink things.
I know.
It just sometimes it's really not that difficult. I know it's easy to say as an armchair quarterback across the country, but
for sure, yeah.
Let's not overthink things.
No, they're continuing with the hurry up as they go here. 2nd and 7, 5:15 play in the first quarter. Darnold drops back left side, complete. He's got JSN, and there you go. It's a completion for about 5 yards, and now he'll bring up a 3rd and 2 after the play there.
There you go. Now you're in 3rd and manageable, which is where the Eagles wish they were more often, but the Seahawks are now in this situation. We'll see if this is another situation where, based on the distance that they're at, they're around the 30-yard line or so. It could be 4-down territory if they don't want to settle for a field goal and they know that they're going to have to match touchdowns with the 49ers. It feels like this could be a run and then another play if they don't convert.
Here we go. Big 3rd down again for Seattle. Darnold under center, takes the snap, handoff Charbonnet up the middle. Now he's going to cut left side. Big hole, 20-15, 10-5, and he's in. There's the defense. Giving it up.
Or you can just run it in for a touchdown.
Might as well.
Like I said, sometimes it's not that difficult. You have this big hulking running back in Zach Charbonnet that's been on fire in recent weeks. Just give it to him. Everybody overcommits to that right side. You get the whole offensive line moving to the right side. Opens up that cutback lane. He just has one guy to beat. And then with a guy that big, that fast, and as strong as he is, it's an easy player for him to make miss and then just get on the move.
27 yards. A good blocking tight end over there on the left side. I mean, it was just the one man to beat, obviously, but like he had forever. There's just nobody else. And more of that. If it's going to be that easy, this one could get away in a hurry. The extra point, up and good. And just like that, Seattle failed to capitalize on their opening possession. Should have done that. But then the return and the face mask starting at the 35 of the Niners, and they got a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, and it seems like they were able to just kind of create that opportunity just with their pre-snap alignment, right? They had either 2 or 3 receivers to the right side of the formation. So now when he cuts back to the left side, there is no corner out there, right? You saw the safety had to close from deep against Charbonnet along that left sideline. And with the momentum he had already, the guy's diving at his ankles, the guy like that big, like I said, there was really no chance for him. He just makes that one guy miss. We've seen it happen last year with the Eagles. We saw that a ton with Saquon Barkley on those big runs where you get him to the second level. It's just mano-a-mano, one-on-one with just one person. And in that area, you're going to take your running back with a full head of steam basically 100% of the time, right? So
Oh, easily. Yeah.
by using their alignment and manipulating the defense that way, knowing that they were either in man, matching them right across from the coverage, you line up with a heavy alignment on the right side. Now your running back can cut back to the left side, and that's it. There's nobody there for it to make a tackle against them.
And this is where, like, we've had these conversations, right? So the Eagles, who they're going to play, all this other stuff. Again, we can reiterate: if the Seahawks win and the Rams win, they're playing the Cardinals. Then the Eagles, if they were staying at the 3 seed, it feels like there's so many ifs and disclaimers and everything, but if they stay as a 3 seed, they would play the 49ers. And like Aisha said a second ago, got the name correctly, I believe. But you see the defense here, and it's like they can't get pressure. They did get a sack, but that was more of Darnold holding on to the football. They can't get pressure, but if you can't get pressure, then it's like twofold, right? Because you're not getting the pressure of the quarterback. The passing game starts to get going. Then you're able to run the football because like, well, we need to make sure that we can sell out or at least have better coverage on that. And then both of them have started to play off of one another. So not great. Not a great start for the Niners. Early in the game, though. Shout out to Franklin. What's up? Says he's actually here. I know people wondering why is a Chiefs fan, but it says, hey, I'm a Chiefs fan. I have no bias here, but just hanging out. And Franklin is the creator of the scoreboard. So shout out to Franklin. Fire scoreboard. It is fire.
Shout out Franklin.
And it makes my life a million times easier from the manual input of every single down and distance and moving the trackers. So, yes, thank you for that. Apologies a little bit. I won't say a whole lot, but just a little bit. You know, I being out already as a Chiefs fan, that would not be fun. And we do wish recovery for Patrick Mahomes and other injuries because those were devastating towards the end of the year. But Franklin, you're the man. All right. Back from commercial break. Seattle kicking it away. And this one will be in the end zone. And that'll mean it's back to the 35 for San Francisco for their second possession. A little better field position this time.
Yeah, it's a little bit better than being backed up to your 5-yard line or whatever it was beforehand. But the way that Seattle defense was playing, it didn't look like they were going to be able to move the ball much either. So we'll see if they're able to operate a little bit more and then open up things a little bit with their not being backed up in their own end zone. But now they're fighting an uphill battle, right? Because now the Seahawks have that advantage, and they should have had a touchdown that first time around too. So they should maybe be up 14-0 right now. But the 49ers will hopefully try and match them right now here.
Got to answer. It feels like a getaway, like you say, in a hurry. 1st and 10, ball at the 35. Purdy going to be handoff up the middle. McCaffrey nowhere to go. Falls forward for maybe a yard and a half. Brings up second down.
That's Leonard Williams in that defensive front just showing up again. I mean, the Seahawks, their defensive front, they have a ton of guys in the secondary like Devon Weatherspoon, Tariq Woolen, our guy Nick Manwari back there that just fly around all over the ball. They don't allow much after the catch, but also they're not worried about getting a little dirty and then getting involved in the run game either.
Yeah, they got some guys. Nick and Manwari. I know that we talked about it at the draft, but like that dude's just insane. 2nd and 8. Purdy going to throw. Pressure coming. Going to try to take off and run. There's a sack. Nowhere to throw it. Tons of pressure. That time, Hall with the one bringing him down. But, whew, man. It's ugly early for the Niners. Let's just say that.
Yep. They brought a little bit of that simulated pressure that we see Vic Fangio do. They brought 5, but the defensive end faked like he was going to rush, drop back. Now put that right tackle kind of in conflict. He didn't know what to do. Should he attack him, get to that level? Should he stay back? So then obviously the extra rusher came from that left side and eventually got Brock Purdy.
3rd and 9. It's already a rough situation. Ball at the 36. Purdy taking a snap in the gun. Pressure coming. Going to try to get it away. He does. Completed at the 40, short of the sticks. And he's going to be tackled. His man there, that was Juwan Jennings, is short by a yard. 4th and 1 at the San Francisco 44. And gosh, do you go for it here? Surely not with Shanahan.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, against this defense, it's tough. I think if Nick Sirianni was in that situation, he's probably going for it right around midfield, right? Because if you do kick it out of the end zone here or something like that, you really gain much yardage. But once again, the physicality, Devon Weatherspoon there, once again, making a stop before the sticks. And now it looks like the Niners are gonna fake, gonna punt.
All right, well, there's their decision. Morstead getting more action than he's had over the last 2 months. And a punt to Shaheed, this time fair catch at the 18-yard line. So Seattle looking good, and they will have the ball at their worst starting field possession for the game so far, but still been able to move the ball just about as well as they've wanted to.
It looks like a role reversal for these two offenses right now. The way Seattle's been able to move the ball at will and the 49ers are struggling. But like I said, this is why I talked about the Eagles defense the way that I do. No matter how good an offense is looking, if you run into one of these defenses that gives you these different looks, these sim pressures, and they throw you off, it's like running into a buzzsaw, right? So a lot of the times, especially when it gets to the playoff time, one and done, the defense usually has that edge, especially if they played a team before. Like this is obviously a divisional matchup, so this is the second time they're playing each other this season. So despite how good San Fran's offense looked heading into this game, they just have really struggled to be able to move the ball so far.
Yeah, they have. And, you mentioned like, the defense or the lack of defense. For the teams that have it, it's the great equalizer. A lot of times, because like, okay, you got a great defense, even if it's a really good offense, a little bit different. I know there's some familiarity within the division, so that plays a factor as well. But like you go back and look at some of the opponents, even though the Niners have won those games, the Bears, they're no slouch offensively, so not saying that. But like the Titans, they had pretty good success on the offensive side of the ball. They lost, right? They definitely lost, but there's some other games and other teams that they have been able to get a lot of what they want. Maybe not whatever they want, but a lot of whatever they want. So you get a little bit of an upper echelon squad that you go up against. And so far, I think that's why we have the early returns. Maybe the Niners can pull something out, try to ride the ship, but early not looking great. Dylan with a 5. Appreciate that. The 5 bomb. If you were Howie Roseman and you could go back in time to after Super Bowl 57 with the knowledge you have now, would you promote Shane to head coach? I would.
I mean, I've seen people say this.
Hypothetical there, but fair question.
People also said it about Kellen Moore, where they were like, "Oh, you just fire Nick Sirianni and promote Kellen Moore." That's not going to happen especially after winning the Super Bowl. I don't think I've ever seen a team, unless it was like the Bruce Arians situation, right, where he like retired and then they just promoted. What's his name? I'm losing his name right now. The Todd Bowles. They promoted Todd Bowles from coordinator to head coach. Like that's a different situation. But you're not just going to fire your active head coach who has no like retirement like dreams of anything like that, any of the sort this time. Like that's just silly talk. And there's talk of Shane Steichen even being fired right now. So would that have been the right call? Who knows? But it's not. That's just.
Well, then you bring it back, maybe. I mean, if we're talking like that, bring it back.
Exactly.
So. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it would send the crazy, ridiculous messages. All right, Seattle. Here's the possession. Handoff, Kenneth Walker. Big hole up the middle, all the way to the 30, 35, and finally brought down at the 38-yard line. That's a gain of 20. And just like that, Seattle in fantastic field position.
Yeah, this has been a dream start for Seattle's offense. I mean, it seems like whichever running back they give it to. I know JSN's been the face of this offense all season long, but these two running backs, if they use them properly, if they can get them going, that's what could carry them along with the defense in the postseason.
Yeah, and the Niners, I mean, for talking about their defense, they've actually been pretty good against the run. But the problem is, as we said, if you can't generate pressure in the passing games, this time 1st and 10, handoff Walker makes the first man miss, and better job from the Niners defense that time, only a gain of 1, so it brings up 2nd and 9 at the 39. But when you can't do that, or if you're trying to compensate for a huge issue of stopping the pass, then sometimes that reverts back to having issues in a running game when they've been, like I say, average. They haven't been insane, but average at stopping the run.
Yeah, this almost feels like they're doing the opposite of that, where it feels like they're just going to run to set up that big pass, right? Where before they opened up, they were passing a little bit more with the short game. But I think they're trying to open up a potential play action deep shot to JSN or one of these other guys.
Here's Darnold, 2nd and 9, throwing the left side. He's got his man. There you go. You called it. JSN. He's insane. The year he's had, it's a gain of 12 first down up to the San Francisco 49, so into 49ers territory. All 3 drives have gotten into 49ers territory now.
And then one of the big things with JSN too is like he's not just one of those guys that only lines up on this side, only lines up on the outside. They literally move him all over the place, kind of like Puka Nacua, where he's in the slot, in the outside, on the right side, left side. So it really makes it tough for defenses to kind of key in on him.
Darnold under center. 31 seconds to go in the first quarter. 9 on the play clock. 8 going to be a handoff. Charbonnet up the middle. Met immediately and brought down only a gain of about a yard. So good play there from San Francisco. 2nd and 9.
That looked like a bit of like an awkward play, right? It looked like almost like everybody knew the play was coming except for the running back who didn't go for the handoff. It felt
Yeah.
like a little delayed, which could have been by design. Sometimes there's those delayed plays, but that was a little odd.
Let's see if they take the snap here. They don't have to. 2 seconds left in the first quarter. And no, they'll let it go. Oh, there's a penalty. Hold on. Hold up. We got a false start, maybe. I think
Was
we
there?
I think we do. I
Oh,
think there's a penalty. I think wait a minute.
see, you try and get fancy.
They did. They tried to do a little motion movement right at the time
It
to
looked like
get
maybe
San
both
Francisco
of
to
the tight
jump.
ends were trying to shift at the same time or something like that. That might have been what they called it.
Yeah. Okay. So they're backing them up. So does that mean? Well, it's the penalty right before, right? So they gotta run another play, or does the clock start back up? Let's see. They're showing the replay.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
both
both
tight
moved
ends
at the same
moved. I don't
time.
know who else. I don't know.
Okay, well, it is the end of the first quarter, I guess, but they're gonna move them back, so it's second and 15 officially.
What is going on with the Seahawks team? They're just shooting themselves in the claw over and over again. I'm going with that all night, just so you know. Going with shooting themselves in the claw.
I think half the people appreciated that, and half the people were kind of like, okay,
All right, not again. Not
judging
again.
from some comments. But 61% of people in the stream, according to the poll, are cheering for the Seahawks to win. So we've got 61% of people, the majority, that are happy right now. The other 39%, not so much. But either way, Joe says, I hope someone wins. I hate both these teams. I mean, surely someone will, right? We're not really wanting a tie ball game. We don't want this thing to go crazy late, tie, you go into overtime, no one scores. Surely someone will. But right now, Seattle's, even though they are shooting themselves in the foot, look pretty dominant.
Yeah, I mean, what they should do right now, coming out of this break, is an under center play action kind of deep shot. Just take advantage of you're already in kind of a bad spot. Try and make them think that you're going to run to get in third and favorable, but then take advantage and go over their heads with it. But based on how they've played this first quarter so far, they're probably just going to run and then run again, or run and then run some things short of the sticks, like I said, similar to the Eagles' offense in a sense. But we'll see if they kind of make any changes and it's take advantage of this 49er secondary that is very gettable.
Extremely gettable, yes. I mean, I watched like the Chicago game, and again, like the Bears offense, Ben Johnson, give him some credit and everything, but like that game was nuts. If you watched the game last week, Niners Bears defense was optional. You could take whatever you want. Caleb Williams, I think what his starting tackle was not playing. If I remember correctly, Darnell Wright was out of the game. It didn't matter. The Niners can't get pressure, as we said. 19 sacks. He had. There were like 2 or 3 plays where he's moving the pocket, made some good plays, but the vast majority was like, oh my gosh, just whatever you want, whenever you want. It's fun. I mean, fantasy wise, for some people, it's fun, but yeah, that's that defense been very, very suspect, and so far costing the Niners, but only 7-0.
Yeah, it feels like it should be 14-0, but we'll see if the Seahawks can take advantage of it now.
Kevin's going with your whole, pun, I guess, or whatever we're calling that, but he's saying they clipped their own wings, so we're keeping with the claw, the clip their own wings. I'll take that.
I see some people saying that I should be going with Talon instead, which
yeah.
Here's
a
we go.
completion to JSN left side, and is he still in? Did he just score? There's no way, right? I think he got the first down, but if they didn't touch him, there's no signal initially. I'm looking at the replay here. Did he stay in?
Oh, he stepped out right there, about 3 yards after the first down marker.
Okay, all right. I just saw that. Well, it's an easy first down. The fact that I guess maybe the player saw it, so that's why he didn't touch him. But like, why do you chance it? It's like, oh, there he goes right down the sideline. Still, it's a first down in a very improbable way. 14 yards after the catch there, 17 officially. In the Seattle, when it looked like they'd be punting, are not now. It's a 1st and 10 at the San Francisco 37. Here's a handoff. Charbonnet, right side. Plenty of room. Up to the 30, breaking a couple tackles and bulldozing forward. Another first down. Gain of 11 yards. Pretty easy up to the San Francisco 26.
Yeah, and just going back to that conversion to JSN, kind of like I mentioned, as far as like the role that he plays, where he's all over the place, like Puka Nakua. If you watch the start of that play, he's in the backfield. They actually motioned Kenneth Walker out of the backfield to wide receiver, and then hit JSN out of the backfield with the pass. You kind of get him matched up favorably that way. So a lot of interesting looks from this Seattle offense.
Shout out Clint Kubiak. Got some success there. 1st and 10, under center. Darnold going to take the snap, fake toss right side, now rolling left, looking over the middle, plenty of time. Finally getting pressured, couldn't find a man deep, and now he's going to go right side, incomplete, intended for Charbonnet, and brings up 2nd and 10.
I know I keep bringing up the Eagles offense, but that looked like one of their plays where it's just that play action from under center where it's only really like 2 viable targets for them to pass to. It seemed like they had them all working to the same side of the field. The Niners playing zone coverage, so just not a favorable matchup for that offensive look that time around.
So we're not the only ones that run those, as they showed us the down the field look, and it was exactly as you're calling it. So not much pressure on Sam, but when they drop back what seemed like 14 players, you can't get too much pressure. 2nd and 10, Darnold under center, I formation, going to be a handoff. Kenneth Walker right side. That one's blown up immediately. Going to be a loss of about 3 yards, and brings up a 3rd and 14.
Yeah, Abraham Lucas's neck roll didn't do him any favors in that play. Like he just got blown back right into the running back, and they were able to bring him down for a big loss. So finally, the 49ers run defense steps up when they really needed it most.
That they did. See what they go with. The last time there was a big completion needed, all Darnold had to do was throw for a 2-yard gain, and then JSN picked up another 14. See if they go with that here. 3rd and 14. 13-15 to play in the second quarter. 2 on the play clock. 1 takes the snap. Darnold left side, complete to Walker. Has some blocks set up, and that's a really good tackle there. I thought that was going to go for more. Only a gain of a yard. Stout with the tackle, I believe, and going to force a field goal.
That's my guy, Upton Stout. If anybody ever listened to my guy podcast that I do with Mark Fripp Owens before each draft, Upton Stout was actually my guy at safety. He's very, very small, very undersized. People were like, is he a slot corner? Is he a safety? What is he going to play at the next level? But he's kind of just played everywhere for the 49ers defense, and he's been one of the bright spots along with Malik Mustafa this year for San Francisco.
That was a very good tackle, saving it, making it now a 47-yard attempt for Myers, and its kick is up, drifting. He missed it. He missed it right. Wow. He's a pretty good kicker, and in today's NFL, 47 yards is kind of a chip shot. Definitely doesn't lack any distance, but yeah, misses it to the right.
This has been a very odd game to start with, and I know I keep comparing the Seahawks offense to the Eagles offense, but now they're just copying them a little bit too much. You got a Jake Elliott-esque missed field goal that should be a gimme for a lot of kickers in the NFL today, like you mentioned. And Myers, it feels like, has been one of the better kickers in the NFL this season. If I remember correctly, I feel like every time I went against him in fantasy football this year, he was putting up like 15 points or something crazy.
Astronomical.
So, an uncharacteristic miss for him there. It's not like it's in terrible conditions or anything like that. 47, 48-yarder should be a relatively easy one for them to convert, but the Niners, the Seahawks have not been able to extend this one possession lead just yet.
That's crazy. Wow. Let's see. Had a question here. What happens if they tie? If they tie, I think that locks in. Like Seattle would keep their 1 seed, so they would be the 1 seed, and I think that keeps the 49ers at the 5 seed, because they would be 12-4-1, and even if the Rams were to win, they would be 12-5. Yeah. So then, yeah. I haven't looked up that scenario, quite honestly, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm like 90% certain in the math and logic on that statement. But yeah, I think that locks in 1 for Seattle, 5 for San Francisco, and 6 for the Rams.
That would almost make things a little bit easier for us to kind of keep track of, because otherwise it still feels like everything is up in the air, right? Heading into tomorrow.
So, well, if so-and-so beats so-and-so, then okay, they could jump the other one, and who knows about the...
I feel like Zach Galifianakis in Hangover when he's at the poker table or the blackjack table with all the numbers going across his head. Just trying to keep up if this team wins, that team wins. This is who the Eagles play. That's who the Eagles play. It's like, oh
That
my
is what
god.
it feels like. I mean, you look at the standings for both conferences, NFC and AFC. There's so much like juggling and moving around, and I mean, you got like I say, even in the AFC, every team basically set besides the Ravens and the Steelers, and that's a madness to begin with too. The Steelers not going to have DK Metcalf, Darnell Washington out for the season with the forearm fracture, I believe, and yeah, like the Ravens didn't seem like they would be anywhere close to make the playoffs. Yet here they are after being the Packers and Snoop Huntley putting on his Pro Bowl performance. So you just never know in today's NFL, especially this season. But Niners have some life after the missed field goal. This time it's thrown left side. Kittle complete, some good yards after the catch, some blocking setup as well, and it's going to be a gain of 6 yards up to the San Francisco 43-yard line.
And that graphic, for anybody that's not watching the broadcast, they just showed before this drive started. The Seahawks already have 150 yards of offense, and they've ran 24 plays. And the Niners have ran 6 plays for 15 yards, and they've only had the ball for 3 minutes. Seattle's had the ball for 13 minutes. But the scoreboard kind of tells otherwise, with Seattle only having a 7-0 lead right now.
That's crazy. It should not be the case, but Seattle has left, I mean, at least 6 points if you want to say they would have kicked a field goal, but it could be even 10. Here's Purdy on 2nd and 4, complete. Little delay out of the backfield, McCaffrey, and that's a pretty easy 9-yard pickup, first down into Seattle territory.
Yeah, and the 49ers, with 11 minutes left in the second quarter, finally get their first down of the game. So Christian McCaffrey with a little slick, like it looked like he was going to take on the block and block the defender, but just slipped kind of past him, almost like an edge rusher move. And then Brock Purdy found him coming out of the backfield.
It's insane. McCaffrey, 97 catches, 899 yards, and 7 touchdowns as a running back. That doesn't even tell the story of the rushing yards. Just unreal. Here's first down. Purdy fake handoff to McCaffrey. This time throws it to the right side for his receiver there, and that's thrown down immediately. Loss of about 1 yard for Juwan Jennings, and brings up 2nd 11 at the Seattle 49.
Yeah, and that's I'm going to keep comparing it to Eagles plays, but for people that remember the Dallas Goedert kind of in the flat off the play action, that's kind of a similar scheme to what they just ran, and Tariq Woolen was all over it. He did not fall for anything going on behind him and just attacked the guy in the flat for a 1 yard loss.
2nd 11. Purdy in the gun. McCaffrey to his right. You take the snap. Looking over the middle. Has a little time. Complete. That's a big hit there. Incomplete, actually. Dropped it. And intended for Juwan Jennings. He's on the ground in a lot of pain. He's able to get up, though. Looks like he's going to have to go off for a play, maybe. But he's okay, I guess.
It looked like he might have took a shot to the ribs, like right under the armpit there. And he's trying to wave off the trainers, trying to tough it out, but you could definitely see that that was a big blow across the middle. And then he is actually coming out of the game. Has his helmet off on the sideline, grimacing in pain.
Gonna get that one checked out. For anybody else, blame Brandon Perna on that one. He was Juwan Jennings, the player, was one of the curse wheel. Most of the time, it's the teams that are on the curse wheel. Brandon put Juwan Jennings, the player, on the curse wheel, and it just so happens to land on it. The Eagles were also on the curse wheel, and so like they landed on them. But maybe it's just one person. Either way, 3rd and 11. Purdy going to take off and run here, try to pick up the first down. Right side, he's got a little space. He's going to dive for it, and he's short by about 1.5 yards. But a really good effort there from Brock Purdy. And now another time where we've said a chance to go for it on a 4th and 1, this time in Seattle territory. And what are they going to do?
Jennings coming back in the game for the 49ers. This feels like a definite go for me at midfield, especially with the way their offense has been playing. You kind of have to take advantage of the momentum when you do have it. Also, like a very favorable spot for Brock Purdy as well, but looks like the Niners are going to go for it here on 4th and 1.
All right, the analytics say to go for it as well. So Kyle Shanahan doing right by that. Big 4th down. Purdy takes the snap, and we got a timeout, I think, right before the play got off. Was it Seattle?
Yeah, I think McDonald. I think he's actually. I thought he had the red flag out. I thought he might have been challenging. Oh, he did have it out. Huh. Did he challenge or did he call a timeout? I don't know whether. This is an odd situation.
What's going on here? Yeah, he had the challenge flag out.
Wait, he threw it and then he called a timeout. What's? Maybe he's trying to get an automatic review instead of wasting his timeout. I mean, instead of wasting his challenge. I don't know what's going on here. But like I said, I thought it was a favorable spot for
What?
Brock Purdy. But I don't know what Mike McDonald is doing with that challenge flag.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's a favorable spot, but like, I guess he was hoping for like a booth review, and then as soon as they were about to snap it, they didn't get it, so he wanted something else.
Because
But
they marked him at the 1. That looks like it's about 2 yards short.
oh
So
yeah,
he should
that's
have challenged
easily
that.
2 yards short. Okay, but they didn't. He took his timeout instead of.
Why not just take the challenge and then you, if anything, you lose your timeout and then
That's
what?
so
These
weird.
head coaches, what is going on?
This game. All right, 4th and 1. This time Purdy under center. It looks like they may be handoff. Nope, play action. Looking deep, pressured. He's going to get hit. Throws it, and it's nearly intercepted there. It's incomplete. Probably the best option from what it looked like a second, but turnover on downs.
That looked like it could have been a pick six for Tariq Woolen if he hung that ball up in the air a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I think targeting your fullback along the sideline, probably not the most ideal target for 4th and 1. But Seattle brought the house on back-to-back plays. They got to Purdy that time around. And Seattle's defense does it once again. The Niners finally got a first down, but not able to do much more with it after that. And they finally went for on 4th down, but were not able to take advantage of it.
There you go. Seattle not capitalizing the most that they should, but again, with the way the defense has been playing, yeah, like they just get the ball back, kind of keep them on their heels, more pressure. Trent with a 2. 49ers versus Seagulls. Not scared of either. All right.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, especially when you have the Eagles defense, I'm taking the Eagles against any of these teams, AFC, NFC, regardless. I think if they're healthy, which thank God they're resting the starters because it looks like the Lions are kind of resting some of their starters too. So that option could still happen. You never know. Things are weird, especially divisional games. But it seems like Nick Sirianni made the right call resting his guys, and that's one of the best advantages that they have. I mentioned it in the most recent video, which once again, people should check out at halftime if they haven't watched it yet. But that you have to use your health to your advantage, where it seems like in recent years, I know the 1 year A.J. Brown got hurt in week 18. Obviously, he missed the playoff game. Feels like Jalen Hurts has been banged up a lot of the times late in the regular season, where now, outside of Lane Johnson, who we haven't seen play yet, but it seems like they've been purposely holding him out once they clinch the NFC East, once they realize they can only be like the 2 or 3 seed. They're like, why are we going to rush this guy back who has 12,000 snaps played, right? Like, this doesn't make sense to force him back out there. So it seems like they're going to be damn near as close to full health as possible in that first playoff game. So outside of Drew Makuba, I think every other day 1 starter is going to be out there for the Eagles. So they're in a pretty good spot heading into the playoffs.
Can't understate that. That's why we're on the same page. We've both been saying rest. I get that some people are like, the offense doesn't deserve it. The offense needs to go out there and get a rhythm and everything. But like we even said too, it made sense earlier against the Chargers, Raiders, Commanders. We're like, hey, the offense is playing better. They got some rhythm, showed some different things conceptually. Even you're going to play against the Bills too because it's so much earlier before the playoffs. But now at this point, it's like if they were to go out there and the Eagles did something on offense and they showed it against the Commanders, some of the backups, some of the starters against the Commanders, it's Washington. Like, does that really go, oh, here we go. Now we're trusting the offense, right? We saw that. We saw that previously against Washington. We saw it against the Raiders. We saw it against the Chargers, even though they lost. Conceptually, it was better. But yeah, like for me, I'm the same way. Just get them rest, see where we go at. Kelly with a 2. Any idea why we rarely do bootlegs?
That's just another frustrating thing with the Eagles offense, right? We finally been seeing more under center play action and things like that. And we just saw it there from Sam Darnold as he connects with JSN deep up to the right side of the field. So the Seahawks are already in their own territory, and they're could be finally extending this 1 possession lead after such a hot start to this game.
18 yards, just like that. Make it look pretty simple, pretty easy against the 49ers defense. And again, I've seen why a lot of people, I'm in the same boat personally. I've been cheering for the Seahawks to win. And if we were to play the 49ers, I'd be feeling pretty confident, regardless if we were playing. But 61% of people taking the poll saying they want the Seahawks to win. So So far, so good. Ball at the 42 of San Francisco. This time, handoff left side, Charbonnet. And looked like he had a little bit of a bigger hole than that, but only runs for a gain of maybe 2 yards. It'll be second down from the 40-yard line of San Francisco.
Yeah, it feels like the Seahawks are just keeping with that same strategy, keeping them honest, committed to the run on those early downs, and that'll open up those deep shots like we've seen them do in each of the last 2 drives to JSN for those chunk gains. Even though you get into second and long, if you can just get them to play the run and be honest and attacking downhill, that's when you can go over the top for those big gains through the air.
Here's another under center from Sam Darnold. Kenneth Walker in the game, 9 on the play clock, 8, 7, 6, handoff, left guard. It's Walker and pushing forward a little bit more, gain of about 4 yards now. So 3rd and 4, another third down. Ball on the 36 of the Niners. See what they do.
Once again, especially after that last missed field goal, right? It feels like this could be 4-down territory for them, right around the 35-yard line or so. It's like if you get to 4th and 1, I think you'd rather just try and get that first down instead of taking another 40-yard field goal or so. So we'll see what they do if they get aggressive, if they don't convert on 3rd down.
Yeah, feels like, be aggressive territory with kicker like you mentioned, but Darnold in the gun. 3rd and 4, takes the snap. Blitz is coming, pressured immediately, escapes it, and he's got room to run. He's going to pick up the first down. I thought he was for sure going to get brought down for a sack. He gets the first down.
Hey now, Sam Vick out there with moving getting his legs working.
easy.
A free rusher right down the middle, and he just beat him to the right side, slid down. Looks like there maybe could have been a penalty, but it was a little bit of an awkward slide too. So no flag there, but the Seahawks are on the move once again. One more thing. I keep talking about the different things that Seattle does with their alignments offensively beforehand. With Kenneth Walker, he was in the backfield, but he was aligned wide of the left tackle, right? So he's like technically in the backfield, but you don't really see the Eagles do that. They keep everything kind of really condensed. Either they're like an empty where everybody's spread out, or just everything is condensed, right? So it's nice to see the way that Seattle does things, where they go heavy under center, then they'll spread it out, and you saw the big cutback that they opened up for Zach Charbonnet with nobody on the left side. So they're really mixing it up with Clint Kubiak as OC, and that's why you see his name being mentioned as a potential head coaching candidate this offseason already.
Yeah, and he's done a phenomenal job, certainly with the sequencing, and we would take some of that. There's a timeout on the field. D. Winters injured on the play. I don't know if he was. It was one of the linebackers, I think, that was blitzing through. I don't know if he was the one that missed that tackle and that caused an injury, or if it was something else. But D. Winters down on the field, so hopefully nothing too serious. But they had to go to break.
Yeah, it looked like I don't know if they collided with each other, or if when he went to plant to cut back is when he fell down. Because I believe it was a linebacker. They got that free rush. That's why they weren't anticipating it. Because the Niners do a lot of where they kind of they muddle up that A gap where they look like they're going to send linebackers, but then they drop them back a lot. But that time they did go, and the guard was not ready for it. So Sam Darnold was able to make a miss, but the 49ers will probably go back to that later in the game.
Yeah, if you're not getting a lot of sacks, 18 sacks coming into the game here, you got to try to do something else and send pressure. You blitz your linebackers, do whatever you can. Robert Saleh, someone says Philly game day. Robert Saleh, stealing money in San Francisco.
What do you think about what the Eagles had to do early in the season, right? When they couldn't rush the passer, you saw Zach Bond and Jahad Campbell like having to blitz a lot more than Vic Fangio normally would want to. But now they're able to get pressure with just 4. The 49ers, it seems like they can't get pressure with no matter how many they send, but they weren't able to get that time. But Sam Darnold was still able to beat it with his legs.
Good news, D. Winters is up and walking, kind of a hobbling, but he is walking. He's going into the medical tent, so hopefully end up being okay, but going out for now. Trenton with another 2. Anyone else ask for a new offensive coordinator for Christmas? So I can guarantee you, Trenton, we can answer for a lot of people. I'm sure that happened. Saw it in a lot of comment sections as well, but better sequencing, better play calling, capitalize, take advantage of just anything basically. But hopefully everybody had a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and I wish for an Eagles Super Bowl win, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. Under center, Darnold, handoff, Walker. That's a big hole, and able to get about 6 yards for Walker there, down to the San Francisco 25-yard line. That'll be 2nd and 4.
He rushed right out of his cleat that time. Looked like his right cleat had come off, but he's thrown it back on there, stayed in the game. So maybe his feet were even surprised at how big that hole was down the middle.
I've never understood how some things like that happen. Like, I mean, never played anywhere close to professional sport of any kind, but it's like, someone lose a shoe or it I don't know. Like, if someone stepped on it, then fine. But like, just lose it to begin with. Here's another handoff, right side, big hole. There's a first down up to the 20-yard line, but there's a flag. Hold up, there is a flag. I think it's coming back.
Yep.
It's holding. Of course it is. When there's a call like that, holding on Seattle. 10 yards, so it'll be back to, what is that, San Francisco 35-yard line, and it'll be 2nd and 14 now.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a ticky-tack call, but sometimes it seems like the officiating has been all over, especially in recent weeks. I feel like you can't really get a good feel. I feel like that you could have called that holding on basically any play if you're going to call that. So
Yeah.
Gray Zabel has been a standout player for the Seahawks this season. Was their first-round pick, I believe, and a big reason why this offensive line's been able to kind of maul this 49ers defensive front.
All right, 2nd and 11 officially. This time, Darnold going to throw left side, intended for his tight end, Barner. That's complete and about 5 yards there, so gets a little bit of the penalty back. It'll bring up a 3rd and 6 at the San Francisco 27.
Yep, just once again getting that 3rd and manageable range, better than 3rd and 8 and long, like the Eagles are in all the time. Still not where you would necessarily want to be, but another interesting area where will they go for the field goal if they don't convert on 3rd, or will they just get aggressive and try and go up 14 here?
At this point, I just say no field goal kickers at all. Just let's do 4-down territory the rest of the game.
And only 2-point conversions. Don't even kick extra points.
Sure, yeah, might as well.
Let's just get
Seattle's lucky with it. Darnold's going to throw deep left side. He's got his man, but then the safety came over. That's a good play. I thought it was only one-on-one. Ends up safety making the play. Incomplete, intended for JSN, and it'll be 4th and 6.
Man, they're going to give Myers another chance out there. So they're going to be in the Nick Sirianni school of thought where if your field goal kicker missed, make him kick another one and see if he can make it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, at first, the camera angle from the television shot, I thought that he had JSN just single coverage there, but a good play made, incomplete. And now we've got, like you say, a field goal attempt here. What is this, 45? Yeah, 45-yard attempt. Here's the kick. It's up, and there's good. Okay, now that was better. He missed the first one, but
they finally felt like they should have been up 17-0 before that, but now they finally have more than a 1-possession lead. So Seattle's the scoreboard's starting to match Seattle's offensive output here, and the 49ers, I don't know what's going on. This offense was on fire before this game, but you would think at home they would come out with a little bit more juice. Maybe the lack of Trent Williams and Ricky Pearsall is really messing with them, but I feel like they still have been able to they were able to do it for most of the game last week without Trent Williams, right? And they put up a ton of points. So a little bit of a disappointing showing, and it's making me look like a fool because I said in the recent video that the 49ers were the team that I didn't want to play against. But now after this showing, how they've looked against Seattle's defense and how their own defense has looked, maybe I should be changing my tone a little bit.
It's a week-to-week league. I think we'll be fine either way. We'll see. It did playing them at the link, regardless, whoever it is, and also too, like I know that like Seattle's a home field advantage and everything there, but like we all know we've seen Sam Darnold in the playoffs and what he reverts back to. So, I even talked to the hypothetical. I think we did it on the live stream, but we've done it online, offline, texting, everything. But like, it wouldn't be a shocker at all to have. Even let's say, for example, let's say that the Bears keep the 2 seed. I know, lo and behold, we don't want that, but let's say they did. Bears play the Packers. Wouldn't be a shocker to see the Packers beat the Bears. It wouldn't even be a shocker to see the Packers then go to Seattle, assuming that Seattle holds on and gets the 1 seed and beat Seattle. I know Seattle's a really tough place to play, but Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold, and the Packers are familiar with Sam Darnold. They played him in their own division last year, so. All bets are off. And I know it's like, the 7 seed. Yes, the Packers have their own issues. They have their own concerns. No one's juggernauts. But this year of all years, it wouldn't be – you could be the 3rd seed as if the Eagles get the 3rd seed. We've talked about this before. You could host theoretically every single game. And that's not even a crazy outlier to say, but wait, the 3 seed ends up being the top seed by the time we get to the NFC Championship game. But that legit could be the possibility. So – I don't know. Just there's a million different ways to look at this hypothetical, but so far it is appearing as if assuming the Eagles get the 3 seed, the Eagles would play the Rams or the 49ers. So for people keeping track.
Yeah, depending on if the Rams win or not, right? Because if they would win,
Yep.
they would be the 5 seed. And it seems like, according to reports, you've mentioned it in your video as well, that Sean McVay is going to play his starters regardless. And we'll
That's what he
see. We'll
says.
see what's going to
I
happen
don't
with
know.
that.
That'd be a little crazy, but if it holds up like this, I can understand it. Fine. You don't want to play Philly. You want to go to Carolina or Tampa Bay. This kick is out of bounds. So Myers, after making up for his missed field goal, now kicks it out of bounds, and San Francisco will get the ball at the 40-yard line, their best field position of the game so far. So good for them.
1 step forward, 2 steps back for Jason Myers. He's had a rough night tonight after being pretty good this entire season. When they need him most, it's been a little bit of a rough night for him.
Qualified with a 5. Appreciate that, man. Says the team will be rested. Great, but can someone make Sirianni and Patullo take a Xanax for their sideline shenanigans when we have a lead? I'm just saying.
I mean, it's tough, right? Because personally, like when I played sports, I was super emotional and I would like jump up and go crazy. So I see a little bit, like I kind of understand where Nick Sirianni's coming from, as our guy Nick Manwari makes a huge tackle for loss on that first down. But yeah, it's just I can't really fault Nick Sirianni for his passion. If anything, I appreciate that he shows his stripes, right? He's not afraid to be himself, and I think the players appreciate that too. Maybe AJ Brown didn't love when he was young in the tunnel, the last game or so, where
it didn't
he
look like
gave
he
him that
really did,
little
but-
side eye. But overall, I think the players appreciate the passion and the care that Nick Sirianni has for the game.
That I do agree with that part. But yeah, it was funny seeing AJ's response. Nick Manwari, like you said, made a big play there. That's a loss of 6 yards. So 2nd and 16. Purdy's going to throw, looking over the middle, complete a short gain to Christian McCaffrey, and that's blown up immediately by Witherspoon. So gets about the yardage back they lost on first down, 5 yards or so, brings up a 3rd and 11 very quickly.
Yeah, you just don't see George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey thrown around like that right after the catch, right? Those are 2 guys that can normally make people miss after the catch, and as Jalen Hurts would say, get a little freaky in the open field. But back-to-back plays, Seattle's defense did not allow anything after the catch, and the Niners faced a 3rd and 10.
Here we go. 3rd and 10 officially. Purdy in the gun. 4 minutes to play in the second quarter. 8 on the play clock. Takes the snap. Little pressure now. Going to have to step up. He does. Buying some time. Looking left. Has 2 men in the area. It's complete to Jennings. And it's a first down. That's a really strange look, though, because you had 2 wide receivers, within like a foot of each other.
You had 2 cornerbacks and 2 wide receivers right there, right next to each other, it looked like. And it was like nobody knew that the ball was coming. Maybe the Seattle defenders thought Purdy was going to get sacked, but it feels like that was probably not how the 49ers drew it up, with 2 guys ending up in the same exact area. But I guess it worked out for them there.
Yeah, it worked out. But yeah, I agree with you. You can't imagine that was being both plays. You got an out route and a comeback. Like, okay. Purdy with the first down.
Demarcus Robinson, that was the other wide receiver. I'm assuming he was supposed to go deep instead of running that comeback route, but he didn't do so there.
Well, it didn't cost him this time, fortunately for them. This is a run to Brian Robinson. We will remember that name, but a pickup of 6 yards brings up 2nd and 4 at the Seattle 42.
Christian McCaffrey getting a little bit of a breather after taking that hit from Devin Witherspoon a couple plays ago.
There's 2:50 to play. Clock is ticking in the first half. 10 on the play clock. 9, 8, 7. Purdy under center. Going to have a man in motion left side. Tons of pressure coming. Have to escape. Quick throw and complete actually to Kittle, who's able to hold on, break a tackle, and get the first down. That's a really good play from Kittle up to the 37.
Yeah, that's more of the George Kittle that I expected. Like I said, usually you don't see him not be able to break tackles and make a play after the catch like he did a couple plays ago. But on that play, he was able to somehow avoid that hit and convert the first down.
3rd catch on the night for George Kittle. Only 5 yards. You don't think of that very often. 3 catches, 5 yards. But that was the best 5 yards of the game that Kittle has picked up. So first down.
Like one of those Saquon Barkley runs that we see all the time. Yeah. That's the greatest 3-yard run I've ever seen.
It is, yeah. And we've reached the 2-minute warning. Was wondering if they would take the snap or snap the ball before or just wait. We've reached the 2-minute warning. So 3 timeouts still for the Niners. Plenty of time. Ball on the 37 of the Seahawks. And Seattle leading 10-0, but the 49ers driving. So quick 2-minute break. See if the Niners can get points on the board or not. Let's see. Seahawks did get the ball first, I believe, right? So this could, I mean, if the Niners could even just get a field goal, but if they score a touchdown, yeah, get a really good chance to turn things around.
Yeah, if they can get a touchdown here, especially, it's almost like going into halftime, hitting that Men in Black button, pretending that the first half never happened, and just start from scratch in the second half. You get the ball down, only 3 points, despite losing the time of possession battle terribly, total yards, like nothing's in their favor, basically. So if they can go into halftime only down 3 points, I think the 49ers would be very happy with that.
100%, yes. Shout out to you guys in the chat, as always. Appreciate you guys. Make sure to drop a like if you don't mind. Just helps the channel, the algorithm, everything else. But about 700 or so people hanging out, only 150 likes. So the math, not quite mathing. Also, if you've not gotten signed up for Underdog, do that. Scan the QR code, use code Philly Special, or click the link in the description. I mentioned this on several videos, but going to be giving away Super Bowl tickets. If we can get, it's going to end up essentially being 650 signups, but we had the challenge start last week. So I think we're like at 5. Actually, I haven't checked today. We were 598 before I dropped the video today. So I'm assuming we're at a much better spot. But there was like 600-ish signups. Not that many to get. If you sign up, $5 play. If you're in Philly, you can do that too because you can play the draft leagues. The pick'ems, you cannot, but it still counts. $5 play. Insert that. Get signed up on a draft league. Anthony did some draft leagues. It was looking pretty good after the first game today. I don't know if it's as great now.
I'm gonna have to check those at halftime.
I was gonna say
I had
Charbonnet. The score was good for you.
I had Charbonnet in one of them, I believe. I think I had Kenneth Walker in the other, so should be looking all right. But
okay, yep.
I did have K. Dotton and Ted McMillan in the first game, so Ted McMillan's fumble kind of hurt me a little bit, but I was in good shape heading into this late game. But there's going to be drafts for all the slate for Sunday. You could do even other sports, NBA, MLB, golf, NHL, everything you could think of. So even if you can't do the picks, if the picks aren't available, like I'm in New York, so the picks actually aren't available for me on Underdog, but the drafts are just as fun and almost more fun because you can't really control so much. It's like doing a fantasy draft. Everybody's fantasy football season is over now, unfortunately, by now. And so now this is a good way to kind of fill that void in your life when the Eagles are resting their starters. It gives you something to root for and hopefully help your pockets and bank account as well.
There you go. Yeah. And like I say, if we get those 600 signups between now and the conference championship game, going to be giving away 2 Super Bowl tickets. So get signed up there. Shout out to Underdog. Here's the first play out of the 2-minute warning, a handoff to McCaffrey. And the best run defense in the NFL is not going to give up a whole lot. 3 yards brings up 2nd and 7.
Yeah, and just one more thing on the Underdog. Like we're almost at 700 people live watching right now. If everybody in here just signs up for Underdog, there you go. Josh is going to be giving away some Super Bowl tickets.
Check it all of a sudden, we're like, hey,
that's it.
We're already there.
You're right here. You got $5 in your pocket. Might as well just sign up for Underdog and get the Super Bowl ticket giveaway going.
Heck yeah. I am very excited, and I appreciate Underdog for even the chance, the possibility. But yeah, talking about like, hey, if we can get there, chance to help out with the Super Bowl tickets is a little trickery here. Couple double reverse, then quarterback pass to McCaffrey from Brock Purdy, and that picks up about 5 yards or so. Probably looking at a 3rd and 2 from the Seattle 30.
Yeah, 49ers getting a little desperate here with the double, triple flea flicker there, whatever you want to call it, for only a 5-yard gain. Probably want to get more yards on a play like that if you're breaking out a trick play like that. But they're facing a 3rd and 3, approaching the red zone. So we'll see if they can finally put some points up on the board.
Here we go. Yes, Desiree saying it's so refreshing watching a game with Josh, and we aren't all stressed out. That is, one of the wins of watching this game. It's not crazy stressful because the Eagles are not playing. 3rd and 3, Purdy going to try to throw. Pressure going to attempt to take off. It looked like he had a little space, but he's tripped up, and that's going to be 4th down. It's officially, it is officially ruled a sack, but a loss of nothing there. Basically back to the line of scrimmage, but it's 4th and 3 now, and a timeout taken from Seattle. Let me update the clock. It was still running. I couldn't stop that. But 1 minute, 10 seconds, Seattle does take a timeout, and that's their final timeout. But, I mean, if you're San Francisco, a 4th and 3 from the Seattle 30, you probably kick a field goal, you think?
I think you have to take the field goal here. I hate the idea of it, but just get some points on the board, make it a one-possession game going into halftime. But now the Seahawks, the 49ers are going to kick the field goal, but now the Seahawks are going to have about a minute to go with no timeouts. That's more than enough time for them to kind of turn the field around and get a field goal position of their own as well.
There's Eddie Pinheiro. Thank you, Eddie, for not crushing my semifinal fantasy football matchup. I ended up losing the championship, so it didn't matter. But he missed a very long field goal, which was a -1, and ended up helping me win. So that was a good, I guess, in the moment. 48-yard attempt. This one's a little shorter than that one, but kick is up, and it is good. Makes the points there, getting the Niners on the board and back to a one-possession game. So overall, I mean, San Francisco would get the ball first at the start of the second half. Not too bad.
Yeah, but like I said, still a lot of time for Seattle. I know they don't have any timeouts, but I think they're going to be a little bit more aggressive than Nick Sirianni usually is at the end of these first halves, and they're going to try and put some points up here as well.
Yeah, even though it's 106 left and no timeouts, like you say, it's just about take whatever you want against the San Francisco defense, so it does feel like plenty of time to get into field goal range. I mean, heck, maybe even something beyond that if Seattle gets a big play going, but we'll see. I mean, Seattle's little. Like, if you're a Seahawks fan, I mean, there may be some in this stream, but if you're a Seahawks fan, you're just watching the game. Like, it feels like a wasted opportunity so far. I mean, you could legitimately be up 20-3 right now. They've missed opportunities, not running the ball from the 1 yard line, missing a field goal attempt in the first place. At the worst case scenario, it should be 16-3, but San Francisco hanging around, maybe got a shot.
Yeah, this is sometimes like the worst feeling as a fan of a team, right? Where you just like, you feel like you should be up by so much more, but it just hasn't happened. And especially when you're not getting the ball coming out of halftime, as Rashid Shaheed returns to the 35-yard line for the Seahawks. So they're going to be in favorable positioning here with a minute left to go as well. So it's not like they're starting at the 20. They'll be starting at the 35. They can, with the way kickers are these days, I know Jason Myers missed one already, but it feels like all you have to do is just cross midfield for at least to attempt a field goal. So we'll see what Seattle's able to do here before the end of the half.
They're showing D. Winters hobbling back to the locker room with the ankle injury from previously, officially questionable to return. Judging by the way that he's walking, I doubt that he's going to come back, but we've seen crazier things. Maybe he does. 1 minute to play here in this first half. Darnold in the gun. Ball to 35 of San Francisco. He's going to take the snap. 4-man pressure, looking over the middle. Now going to be pressured to the left, and he's going to be sacked. And that play right there, just like that, may completely change the way that Seattle calls this last series.
That's the last thing you want to see if you're the Seahawks coaching staff. Sam Darnold has to know he has to either step up and run at that point, get out of that pocket, or get rid of the ball. And he just didn't do either one. So unfortunately, now they might just be forced to run the clock out and go into halftime with a 7-point lead.
See what they do here. That is the 20th sack of the season. Still 6 fewer than the second to last place team for the Niners. And they're just letting the clock run. Take a snap, though. Going to try to throw. Darnold stepping up. Almost gets sacked. Gets it away, though, to Barner and able to pick up about 9 yards before brought down. And a third down. I think that is both teams content to just go into the half. No. Seattle's, they're hurrying up here. Surely they're not going to snap this. Yeah, they're going to the half. So that'll be the half. 10-3. Seattle leads. Feels like a missed opportunity for Seattle in a couple different instances. But they do have the lead, and the Niners will get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the end of that first half has the Niners trending in the right direction. I know they only put up 3 points and didn't have a ton of yardage in that first half, but despite how well Seattle played, they just haven't been able to extend their lead for more than one possession. So we'll see how San Fran comes out at halftime. They'll start with the ball, but considering how the stats look, if you look at the box score right now, like you said, Seattle should be up 20-3, but they're only up 10-3 right now.
It's crazy. I could show the box score or just the team stats as a whole. I think that I can get this on the screen. There we go. You can kind of see it. It doesn't fully fit on here. I don't have it actually set up like I do for the other streams, but you can kind of make it out. I can give you some more play-by-play of that. But 46 yards total, 47 for Brock Purdy, 5 carries for 23 yards for the Niners as a team. It's 4.6 yards a carry, but they haven't really been able to run the ball. They haven't had the ball much to begin with. I mean, time of possession-wise, Seattle 115 yards on the ground already. Charbonnet, 9 carries for 60 yards in the touchdown. Kenneth Walker, 9 carries for 50 yards. He won't ever score because Mike McDonald doesn't believe in being able to give the touchdowns to Kenneth Walker, which is why that hurt one of my fantasy teams. But nonetheless, they still have the yards, picking that up. But yeah, I mean, the fact that it's a 10-3 game, it's kind of crazy. Kelly with the where the score? Oh, there's the scoreboard. I was going to say I lost the scoreboard for a second. It's back. Kelly with a 2. Who were the fantasy MVPs of 2025? That's a good question. Fantasy MVPs of 2025. I mean, there's a couple like quick, easy ones. We got one in this game, Jackson Smith and Jibba. Like if you had him, and where he was getting drafted to, I think that was probably one of the biggest factors of him being an MVP because you could get him, later. He was thought to be, like a season for him to kind of take that next step. But I don't think that people are like, oh, like JSN or Puka, like you want to pick one of those two. I don't know that was the thought initially.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think of guys like the guy like Chris Olave, who I feel like nobody thought he was going to have the year that he had. I had him luckily on one of my teams where it was like, I think like the 11th or 12th round, and I was like, he was still there. And I both of my drafts are like live drafts that I've been with the same guys in the same draft for like 10 plus years. So I just turned to one of my buddies and I'm like, Chris Olave is still available? He's like, yeah. He's like, who's throwing to him? I'm like, I don't know who's going to be throwing to him, but they're going to be losing a lot of games. They're going to be throwing a lot, so I'm just going to take him. And sure enough, he turned out to be, I think he ended either like a top 15 or a top 10 receiver in fantasy. Javonte Williams and the Cowboys, another guy that was going super late just because people didn't know, like, is he going to be the starting running back? Mm-hmm. Is he going to be any good? Are they going to be any good? And he ended up winning quite a few games for people too. So I know the big names are easy to remember and then things like that, but obviously you think of like a Bijan Robinson or a Christian McCaffrey or JSN, like you said, is probably the biggest surprise as far as like where he was drafted compared to where he ended up performing as like the number one receiver in fantasy. So a lot of different guys contributed this year. And it's just a matter of, it was a weird year in fantasy, just like it was a weird year in the NFL, right? Where some guys that you expect to go off, they had a favorable matchup, just didn't go off. And then another guy that, like I remember the Seattle versus the Rams, right? A couple weeks ago where I think that was like the first or second round of the fantasy playoffs where you didn't really want to start any Rams players because the Seahawks defense was so good. And then the Rams defense, like the Seahawks offense didn't seem so good. So in one of my leagues, I benched Matthew Stafford and Kenneth Walker. And that was the game that Matthew Stafford scored like 30 plus fantasy points. Kenneth Walker, I think, had like 23 or 24 fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just like a weird year overall in fantasy, but a lot of guys kind of went off at weird times.
That they did. James Cook too. I mean, good player, but I don't think that anyone's anticipating like, potential rushing leader, right?
Rico Dowdle too, another one.
Yeah.
I know the end of the year
kind of guys off the waiver wires,
came back down to earth, but he was like a top 10 running back for several weeks in a row.
Gosh, yeah. I took the gamble for a couple weeks. It paid off, and then not so much. But Rashee Rice for the suspension, like you could get him super late in drafts, and then helped me win a few games getting into the playoffs. But then, it all kind of crashed and burned. I was pretty fortunate. Let's just say that the scoring total.
I don't know if that was intentional by you. I'm gonna stop you for a second. But the fact that you said Rashee Rice and then crash and burn, pretty funny. But I don't know if that was intentional or not.
That was actually unintentional, but I don't want to make light of anything like that. But
okay, you're right. Sorry.
But it was, I guess it works for that. I'm moving on to the next super chat for 5. Qualified. Thank you. Can we get a poll for who we want to win with the Seagulls versus? What is that poll? Can we get a poll for who we want to win versus, or win with the Seagulls versus the 4th and Niners? Oh, like just update it, like instead of Seahawks and 49ers, say Seagulls and 4th and Niners. I mean, I've already got this one going though, so I was curious to see whether I mean we've got 12. Interesting, we have 1,200 votes. That's kind of cool. We only have like 600 people in here, but people come in and they leave, so about 1,200 votes there. That's not too bad.
How's it looking right now? Still Seahawks are around like 60% or so? Or?
Yeah, they're still there, 61%. It's basically just kind of. I doubt we're gonna have like massive moves at this point because of how many votes we have. But maybe there's an onslaught of Seahawks faithful that comes in, or even 49ers that come in and like, oh. What's funny though is I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that people can change their votes. So. It might be unfair if I keep it up there for too long because let's say that the Niners came back and they started to win or something like that. People may change their vote.
Everybody's
like, I
flipping
want
their
to be
vote.
accurate. And then all of a sudden it's like, why are there 80% 49ers picks in here? But Um, I don't know. It seems like the majority still is content on we want to try to play the San Franciscos, but or play San Francisco. Dan with the what was that? Oh, I thought by winning Tampa Bay won the South in a playoff spot. No, they did not. They botched it completely, and the Falcons hurt them in that way too because the Falcons are the best team on earth when they've been eliminated from playoff contention. In the last like 4 years, they're like 75, 80%. I was telling you this offline is like they're like 75, 80% win percentage once they get eliminated. They'll be terrible
Crazy.
before then. And then they'll get eliminated with like, 3-4 weeks left in the season. And then they'll just win all those games. So because the Falcons ended up beating the Rams, which I didn't think was going to happen, but because they did, it basically went into like the Falcons and the Bucks and the Panthers all kind of in a not essential like because the Falcons were eliminated from playoff contention, but the same record wise. And so the difficulty of that is because of the tiebreaker part. It gives Carolina the leg up for kind of a short summarized version. It gives them the leg up on Tampa, even with the Bucks winning, because the Bucks and Carolina split the season series. So you go to like the fifth, sixth tiebreaker, whatever it is, and basically the Bucks now, even though they won, they have to hope and pray that the Saints end up beating the Falcons, the best team in the world the last 4 years after they've been eliminated from the playoffs. The Saints go in and beat the Falcons. Otherwise, no, the Panthers will. I think, Anthony, as you said, the beginning of the stream maybe will be backing their way into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's such a crazy situation. I did not realize that Rams and Falcons game, and I think I spoke about this or we spoke about this offline, like would have such an impact on everything else with the playoff seeding, right? Because that game also decided the fact that the Eagles won't be able to play the Seahawks in the first round too, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like that one game that didn't seem like it carried much weight actually kind of sent the ripple effect down the entire NFC playoff standings.
It's always, there's always a couple of these, but again, like we said, like this year, more than others, there feels like there's so much different changes within seeding and coming down to the wire. Even guys that are getting rested, and you're looking at some teams, and we said this too, like AFC wise, Buffalo. Josh Allen was getting some rest with his ankle injury or foot injury, but then they're like, well, maybe we do need to play because we can improve our seeding, and because they're currently the seventh seed, which would be playing New England, because you're assuming that New England's going to win. The Chargers don't care at all. They're saying they're going to rest everybody, which
Yeah.
is probably the right call considering the injuries that they've had. But they're going to play the Broncos, which means the Broncos, should, unless something ridiculous happens, but the Broncos should get the 1 seed. But, like everyone's kind of jockeying, it feels like, or were jockeying to be that 5th seed. Because I think a lot of people thought, oh, hey, Pittsburgh's going to be the 4. You want to play Pittsburgh. But now all of a sudden, too, you look at it, well, maybe it's the Ravens. Do you want to play the Ravens? Because they looked pretty dangerous against the Packers a week ago. So it's madness. I think this year, as we said, it wouldn't shock me to have a conference championship and you got like, hey, there's a 4 seed and a 7 seed playing each other. Like, it'd just be ridiculous. But you could envision that the way that this year's played out.
Yeah, I know it's like technically, obviously, seeding matters because especially the first round bye if you get that first seed. But this season, just the way it's been going, especially heading into the playoffs, like you mentioned so many times, it doesn't seem like there's that clear alpha team in either conference. So it almost feels like you can just throw conferences and the seeding out the window and just go based on like just straight up matchups. Because it feels like once that ball gets kicked in the air, literally anything could happen with the way these teams have been playing.
Definitely seen that a crazy amount of times this season. Henry with a 10 bomb. Appreciate that, Henry. Niners fan, actually. Says, I'm a Niners fan. I got to put respect on the Seahawks defensive line. I'm getting annoyed because they're killing us right now, but at least we're going to the playoffs no matter what. That's some positivity. Henry, I appreciate that. As a Niners fan on a stream here and giving a little respect, actually, to the opposing team. That's surprising. A lot of whiners out there, but maybe just a legit Niners fan. Thank you,
Yeah,
Henry.
maybe it's a turning over a new leaf for 2026. But you also have to realize that no Trent Williams is a huge drop off for the
Oh, yeah,
49ers, right?
yeah.
So,
Big time.
like, of course, Seattle's defensive line, which is already good. Granted, they could have dominated them just as much or maybe a little bit less with Trent Williams in the game, but missing arguably the best left tackle in the game is a huge loss for the Niners, along with Ricky Pearsall, who's another receiver that can help open up things in the passing game as well. So I don't know if you could put too much into this offensive performance, especially the way they've started, but it seemed like they were starting to pick up steam ahead of halftime too.
Yeah, and if if Seattle's not careful, because we did say this, they're not capitalizing on some different areas. They're at least winning the time possession battle, and you wonder if it plays a factor of San Francisco's defense getting tired. They're already not good, but if they get, exhausted by the, later third quarter, early fourth quarter, it could really get away from them. But nothing necessarily makes sense about so far. You just look at the score, right? Because we say 10-3, San Francisco getting the ball to start the second half, 196 total yards for the Seahawks, 196. San Francisco only has 69, and they've been doubled up in time possession. But they're not out of it by any means. I mean, they go down and score, and now, hey, it's a new ball game. So we will see. Just double checking to make sure, because normally there's some bathroom breaks and everything else, but we didn't talk about this before the stream. If you do ever need to, feel free to just take off. I'm good, but I'm just making sure for the stream itself. So
I'm good for now. Usually, I'm able to control my bladder pretty well, limiting my my water usage right now.
Yep.
So I should be good.
It's also, I will say too, like usually I'm okay to make it for the game. Every once in a while I can't, and it feels like whenever the adrenaline is extra heightened, because this game is not anxiety inducing. Like, yeah, we care maybe a little bit on who we're rooting for, but it's not like a big fourth down situation. You're like, oh my gosh, it's just kind of call the game, hang out. It's a little different. So
listen, if you got to go, you got to go. I'll try my best to pick up the play-by-play slack. I feel like I called a couple in that first half. Try not to impede on your handling of that too much.
Oh no, you got it. You got it. You got it if you want it there. Oh, by the way, let's see. I think I can do this here. Let's see. We've got if I can find it. Here we go. As we're about to come back for the second half, there we go. Give out a couple memberships. Why not? Starting out the new year with a bang. There's 5. Remember, they're completely randomized. I'm not picking favorites here, but can't choose it even if I wanted to. But Aisha with one, BA with another, Sean and Gabrielle and Damon, I think was how that other one. But congratulations, y'all got memberships to the Philly Special Show. Access to the ticket giveaways. I've been doing that every single month for members. Also for subscribers on different ones. When the Eagles win, shout out SeatGeek, another one of the sponsors of the channel this season, and continuing to do that throughout the playoffs. As long as the Eagles continue to win games, we'll give it out. So there you go.
Look at you. Always a man of the people, giving stuff out. Who does it better?
Thank you, sir. I'm just going to move on from that, but I appreciate the compliment. Second half is underway. We start back up in San Francisco. Not a good return at all. That was a botched return to about the 14-yard line. Brian Robinson dropped it, picked it up, and officially the 12 is where San Francisco will have it.
Sorry, I'm getting my stream back up there.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, that's exact. That is like the worst outcome for what San Francisco wanted to start out the second half. I mean, you literally now have the ball at your own 12, like terrible field position. You're thinking, what? You can get at the 30. Here's a handoff up the middle on first down, to McCaffrey, and that'll be a gain of about 5 yards. Not too bad there, up to the 17. So 2nd and 5.
Yeah, a little bit of a weird motion with Kyle Juszczyk there, where he looked like they were going to wait for him to set up as the fullback in the backfield, but they just went for it, used that momentum, almost using him like that Tyreek Hill motion that they love doing down in Miami, but with a fullback, and it ended up working. It ended up springing a block for Christian McCaffrey. Yeah,
not too bad on the run. They haven't had many run plays, but it's been effective so far. Tyler, member for 11 months. Shout out to you. Feels like it's been longer than 11 months, though. But go Birds DH. Go Birds. 2nd and 5, run for McCaffrey. This time not as effective. A gain of maybe a yard. He's met in the middle and brings up 3rd down and 4.
Yeah, a little bit better defense from Seattle that time around. No hole opened up for that San Francisco offensive line.
Tough sledding. 3rd and 4. You definitely don't want a 3rd and out to start. But how many times, as Eagles fans, we know the feeling? It wouldn't be too surprising to see a 3rd and out to start out the second half. See what the Niners have drawn up. Purdy in the gun. Takes the snap. 4-man pressure. Has a little time over the middle. Now looking right side. Has his man. It's caught and complete. That's a 1st down.
Yep, that's DeMarcus Robinson, I believe. This time he did not run a route that landed him in the same spot as somebody else, and he was able to connect on the sideline with Brock Purdy.
Sometimes more effective when you don't run in the same vicinity. That one was complete, by the way. Former Eagles legend Josh Jobe was in coverage.
Who early in this season, when he was getting a ton of attention from Pro Football Focus, there were a lot of Eagles fans saying like, "Oh, did they make a mistake letting him go?" But sometimes a guy's his time is up in a certain area and he's got to just move on. And I think it was the right move for the Eagles.
I agree. I think so. I mean, hindsight 2020, but especially looking at where they're at this time. First down is complete to Christian McCaffrey, his fourth catch of the game, 7 yards, brings up a 2nd and 3 at the San Francisco 38.
Yeah, they're feeding Christian McCaffrey a little bit more than I felt like they were doing consistently in the first half. He's already got 2 touches at least on this drive coming out of the halftime. So obviously, giving your best player the ball is a good idea.
Here's 2nd and 3. Purdy rolling out left side, has another man, this time complete to Kittle, and it is a first down, pick up of 4 yards, and continuing to keep the drive alive.
That's it. Giving it to George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, no Ricky Pearsall, no Trent Williams. Just get the ball quickly out of Brock Purdy's hands. It feels like a good formula for them to instead of holding on to the ball against the Seattle defense and letting them find their matchups. They're doing a good job of letting Brock Purdy develop quickly here in the second half.
One of the strangest stat lines you'll see. 4 catches, 9 yards for Kittle, but he's got 2 big first downs in the game. Brian Robinson, this time handoff up the middle, tries to make a man miss and picks up 3 yards, so 2nd and 7 at the San Francisco 45.
Yeah, that George Kittle stat line is exactly why some people hate full PPR scoring fantasy football leagues, right? Because it's like you get that player that has 8 catches for like 20 yards. It's like, no, he shouldn't get 10 points from that, right? It should only be half a point, or maybe some people don't like PPR at all. So that is pretty funny stat line, though, given the caliber of player that George Kittle is.
Oh, yeah. You get the spam or the dump offs, to running back for like 5 yards at the end of the game. Like, they only had 35 receiving yards, but they had 10 catches. They had a good game. What the heck? 2nd and 7. Purdy under center this time. Going to be play action. Looking at the right side. Pressure. That's going to be a sack. Nowhere to go. And that was Reed, a loss of 7. That'll bring up 3rd and 14 at the 38.
And can we just take a moment to appreciate that giant club that he has on his hand? He's got a big ball of a club on his right hand, which it seemed like he used. It looked like he used to push the offensive lineman out of the way and eventually get the sack, and then had a little bit of a suggestive sack celebration.
Just a little bit, celebrating in a way. Enjoying that. Big 3rd down, though, after the sack. Be 3rd and 13 officially. 4 on the play clock. 3. Purdy takes the snap of the gun. Blitz is coming. Warry almost gets home, and Purdy barely gets it away in time. It's incomplete, but takes a shot, and 4th down.
Yeah, the Seahawks, whenever they're getting the Niners in these 3rd and longs, all along they've been bringing five-man pressures on 3rd down. So they're mixing it up with who they're bringing, who they're dropping out. But Warry was kind of lined up as a middle linebacker. They ran a stunt with him where he tried to open up things for the interior defensive lineman, but he ended up getting there himself and getting a hit on Brock Purdy, who was short on the pass.
Another defensive stop. Seahawks defense. Here's the punt. Thomas Morstead gets it away, and it is going to be caught, returnable by Shaheed at the 18. Plenty of blockers. The 25, 30, plenty of space still, and all the way up to the 37-yard line before he gets brought down. A really good return for 20 yards.
Yeah, when the Seahawks traded for Rashid Shaheed, I thought he was going to have a little bit more of an impact in Seattle as a receiver, but it turns out he's been really good for them as a returner as far as getting them great starting field possession. I think he had a touchdown, at least 1 touchdown, since arriving in Seattle as well. So his ability, I know he's an explosive deep threat through the air as a receiver, but I think people kind of underrated his potential impact as a returner as well.
It's kind of surprising that he returned that one. At first, I thought he was going to do a fair catch because there was clearly a defender, like, in the area, and it was a long or a high hanging punt, but good blocking, good decision to still return it. But two returns for 31 yards so far, the long of 20 on that one.
Yeah, these returners are. I don't think people realize how tough it is to make the decisions that they do. These split second decisions where if they think they can just make that first guy miss, especially a guy with Shaheed's speed, then that's how you see him gain 20 plus yards or whatever on a return, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
even see Britton Covey do it sometimes, where there are times where he has a ton of room and he calls a fair catch for the Eagles, but
Yeah.
then there are times where if he just thinks he has the slightest bit of an angle on a guy, where it looks like Britton Covey, especially given his size, that he's just going to be like wiped off the face of the earth with a hit, but he somehow is able to kind of shake loose and get a couple yards. So whenever, and Britton Covey was actually asked about it, and he spoke about how if he feels like he can just get the slightest bit of an advantage for the offense with his field position, like instead of starting on the 10-yard line, they're starting on the 20-yard line. Like that opens up so much more of the playbook for Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, and the offense. So just little things like that you have to factor in before just signaling for the fair catch and kind of accepting your fate.
Yeah, he's been pretty good at it. Thankfully, ended up being okay after the last game in Buffalo, which was taking a shot at his knee, I think, but ended up being okay, which is good news. But yeah, sometimes you're like, man, there's obviously a reason that he's earned the crash test Covey nickname in the past. He was just
I actually don't think I've heard that,
being
but that's a good
careful.
one.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of those. So yes, crash test Covey. Let's see. We had a quote from Quantico Farmer. I don't care who wins, but Josh, please tell me why the Niners are playing slow ball like the Eagles have been beaten up for. Is that a new thing just to be different in the playoffs? I personally, I don't think so. No, I think that what you're seeing is the Niners offense finally meeting a good defense. It's been 6 or 7 weeks, I mean, good for them. They've got a good win streak. They're in the playoffs. They're playing in a game to potentially get the 1 seed, but like they've not played a really good defense in quite a while. And I think that it's meeting an opponent that is a good defense. It's a division rival, so they're familiar with you. And, they're having to try to make adjustments, but so far they have not been able to get anything to work. All right, back here. First series of the second half for the Seahawks, and this one will be dump off to Kenneth Walker, left side, only a gain of about 2 yards. So 2nd and 8 at the Seattle 39.
Yeah, once again, Seattle just mixing it up from under center. You would think that would be an obvious kind of run on first down, but they decide to pass it to the running back, and not as big of a gain as they've been able to get on the ground. But 2nd and 8, you could be a little bit worse situation than that.
Yeah, picking up nearly, nearly 7 yards a carry, I think, for the running back. So running game doing fairly well. 2nd and 8 here, ball on the 39. Darnold in the gun. San Francisco showing pressure. Motion Shaheed to the left side. Now San Francisco backs out of it. They'll have a blitz on the right side. Darnold gets it away quick. Screen to Walker. Left side has some blockers up to the 45, 50, and finally out of bounds into San Francisco territory. A gain of 13 yards and the perfect answer against the Niners blitz.
Yeah, once again, the way that they're doing things before the snap, right? You use Rashid Shaheed to kind of clear that corner out, take him deep down the sideline, open things up for the screen game for Kenneth Walker, where he's really just by himself once he catches that ball and has more than enough room to get that first down.
Yeah, really good play call there. You got the blocking. It's fun to see screen passes work well because maybe the fact that we don't see that too often in Philly. It's effective and kind of frustrating that sometimes other guys that are able to make it work. Kenneth Walker tossed to the right side, a little bit of space and bounces off a couple defenders. Actually, going to pick up about 8 yards. They blow it dead early. Would have picked up more, but 8 yards on first down there. So it's 2nd and 2 at the San Francisco 40-yard line.
Yeah, like they almost had a little bit of a tush push situation there at the end, right? Like it looked like everybody was running in and they were
going.
Going to push him forward, but they blew it dead. But still, another big gain on the ground for the Seahawks. The fullback took out the linebacker, and Kenneth Walker was able to cut back inside, get nearly 8 yards. So another good run for the Seahawks.
2nd and 2. Running game's been getting going here. Kenneth Walker still in the game. Darnold under center. It'll be a handoff to Walker up the middle, and it looked like he had a spot, but it's stopped again. Malik Mustafa with a good play. He's made a couple of those, so it brings up a 3rd and 1.
Yeah, Mustafa, once again, I said before that he's just when he's able to just fly downhill and be aggressive, almost like he's a better player than him, but similar, I think similarly of him to a guy like Marcus Epps, right? Where in coverage, might make a couple mistakes here and there, but if you can get him moving forward and being aggressive, especially against the run, that's where he can really shine. But he could also take himself out of plays at times too. So there he was able to make a play, and we've seen him make a play against the run earlier in the game as well.
Yeah, good play to keep it a 3rd down. We got an injury, though. Jones, I think, was down. Did he get back up, or we... I think that they're going to have him come out, but they go to commercial break.
Yeah, I believe they were showing his backup coming in as they were cutting to a commercial break. But
Okay.
like he got rolled up from behind as Kenneth Walker was being brought down on the tackle.
Never know. I know people don't want Nick Sirianni to rest the starters, but take health over anything else. I tried to play that in the game recap video after the Buffalo game, and then a couple different times throughout the week. Like we all saw Jalen Phillips whenever he went down, and it was the ankle injury, and he's holding it there, sitting down on the field. Just the concerns, the anxiety. My heart sunk for a bit. I was like, oh gosh, you got to be kidding me. Please don't be. So I would much rather 100% know that the guys are going to be healthy for the first playoff game than a hypothetical of win and then hope another team loses and then you get the 2 seed. But what happens if someone were to get injured? What happens if, even if it's not a serious injury, it's just one that you're banged up and questionable to play in the game? Like, keep them as healthy as they can. Jalen Carter played insane. I don't know why he played as many snaps as he necessarily, but I guess it was a good thing to see because even after the game, he's like, nope, felt good. It was great to get back out there. 80, 90% of Jalen Carter is better than 90% of defensive tackles in the league anyway. So if he can be as fresh and all the guys out there, defense, as we're seeing it, defense wins championships.
I think maybe the reason they played Jalen Carter so many snaps is because they knew they were going to rest him in Week 18, right? Like, so maybe
That's
you
true.
give yourself
Get
a
him
little
the
bit
reps.
of, because then you can kind of just convince yourself, like, actually, he played 30 snaps this week, 30 snaps next week. Obviously, it doesn't work like that. He played 55 or whatever it was, right? But it's also a good way of them kind of testing him before the postseason, too, because you're going to want him to play a lot of snaps. Obviously, there have been some guys that have stepped up during his absence, but when they're at their best, they're going to want Jalen Carter playing a ton of snaps. So he was able to come out of the game injury-free. Jalen Phillips, obviously, it's super cool turnaround for him because he's a guy that only played about 12 games over the last 2 years, and now he had a chance to play 18 regular season games in the same year. He's not going to do it. They've already ruled him out.
It would have been pretty cool.
It's been really cool to see him stay healthy. And obviously the Eagles have been able to reap the benefits, but just for him as a player and a contract year to stay healthy is good to see.
That it is, for sure. The Seahawks, by the way, are down to their third string left tackle after that injury. So it's not the best place to be in for a squad in terms of injuries as we're talking about that. But a big 3rd and 2 officially. Handoff Charbonnet met the right side, tries to get to the outside now, and he's going to be tripped up, brought down by Lenore, and that's a loss of 5 yards. Going to be a 4th and 7.
Huge play for that 49ers defense where it looked like they were going to be backed up and allow another first down after another inevitable 5-yard run, right? It feels like we've just seen the same thing over and over again. But the interior and then the edge broke through there, forced him to the outside, and Lenore was able to clean it up against Charbonnet, which is not an easy guy to bring down in the open field, like I mentioned, but you get him kind of moving laterally with the sideline, and he was able to take advantage of that.
And San Francisco continued to do just enough, hanging around. Here's the punt. Dixon gets it away. This one will be fair caught. And Sky Moore at the 9-yard line. So that is where San Francisco is going to take over. And they have really not had good field position pretty much the entire game. I mean, it has been field position battle, poor returns. Yes, the Seahawks getting in better position and causing some of that. But the 9-yard line is where Purdy's going to take over.
Yeah, and that just gives Seattle's defense is already so good, but now you kind of limit what San Fran can call, because now can they get as aggressive from that spot? Do they want Brock Purdy dropping back 7-step drops to take a deep shot? So you kind of shrink the field for San Fran and limit what they could do offensively. It just only opens up the possibilities for the Seahawks defense that we've already seen fly all over the field. So I expect more quick passes to Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield or George Kittle in the flat, and just hoping that they can kind of make something happen after the catch.
It's funny, you got more comments. Lewis here is KP calling the 49ers offense.
It looks like at times defense, it looks like he's been calling both offenses at times.
It's true.
If you watch the whole game.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, like you said, we said this a second ago, but like again, the teams know each other. And I know that's frustrating, and you see some questionable decisions. What's that play call? I think there's teams that watch it and get maybe frustrated with their own squad or their own play calling because they see it week in and week out. And not to say that KP's at the very bottom of that list and frustrations and struggles and concerns, but you know they're playing up against a really good defense that has been tested, and the Niners are getting pressured. You mentioned Trent Williams being out also. That's a huge factor, not having your starters on that. So, it makes me think of, in terms of the Eagles side, like they got Lane Johnson. They're going to get Lane Johnson coming back. And, whatever you want to say, whether you're appreciative of Fred Johnson for what he did, whether you think that he was atrocious or somewhere in between, nothing's as close to Lane Johnson. And it's a combo of, it'll be better blocking to begin with, pass blocking and run blocking, but also I think maybe even a bigger aspect that comes into play is just Jalen Hurts' confidence, like the understanding that he's going to be better protected, that he doesn't have to worry, maybe doesn't get antsy feet, doesn't take off too quickly, because he knows that he's going to be better or in a better scenario than with Fred Johnson back there blocking. So, I mean, kind of go figure, but you got all pro blocking for you. Life is a little easier when that happens.
Just a little bit of a talent gap between Fred Johnson and Lane Johnson. So
Just
I think, like you said, Jalen Hurts will be a little bit more comfortable with that right side protection.
Just slightly, yeah. First down play for the Niners. From the 9-yard line, this handoff to McCaffrey, and he's going to pick up about 3 yards up to the 12, so a little bit of breathing room, but still not too much. A 2nd and 7 coming up.
Yeah, just I mean, it gives them a little bit of a cushion, but still not really the gain you'd like to see on first down in that area. You'd like to give yourself a little bit more room with the way the Seahawks defense has been flying around. But like I said, I'd expect another George Kittle in the flat, trying to get something working that way to get in third and manageable.
Niners rushing offense looks like the yards per carry, 3rd worst in the NFL. So they do commit to running it. They just don't have that great of yards per carry. There's a pass to McCaffrey, this time short of the sticks, but about 2 yards. So a 5-yard gain up to the San Francisco 17. It feels like we literally said this on the last drive, I think. But another 3rd down, a short yardage situation. Can the Niners convert?
Another similar situation, right? Christian McCaffrey gets a catch, then leaves the field after taking a tackle, and usually you would like him on 3rd down on the field, but they're taking him off in this scenario. So we'll see if that pays off for them or not.
See, and they show the graphic. The last 5 games, the Niners lead the NFL in 3rd down conversion, 51%. But the teams that they've played are, to be honest, not good defenses at all. And now they're playing Seattle, so a different story. Purdy, left side, complete. It's short of the sticks. It's high for Demarcus Robinson. He makes the catch, but he's going to be a yard short because of the throw there and kind of the comeback. So it's at the 18-yard line, and a 4th and 1, they're going to have to punt.
There's Witherspoon again. I feel like we've mentioned his name so many times, but the way the Seattle defense, it's very similar. The way their secondary can finish tackles to the Eagles, right? We always harp on how good Cooper DeJean is as a tackler and how he just doesn't allow anything, and similar scenarios like that, right? Where right at the sticks, but he just doesn't let them gain any ground. And Witherspoon is up there as one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL as well.
Mm-hmm. And I would just throw this out there too. People going, why do the Eagles run certain plays? Looky there, the Niners just ran a play that was 1 yard short of the sticks. Why is he running that route there? Could he run a yard or 2 further? But too many times you see that from a lot of teams. 1st and 10 for at the 32 is where Seattle will have it. Not that it makes it right for the Eagles. I'm just saying, it's across the league. There's a couple comments that I'm seeing now. Bad route. Why run 2 yards short?
It almost felt like he was at the sticks, like he was in the right spot, but maybe the throw took him backwards a little bit. So that could have been the fact as well. But even then, you still shouldn't. It's such a minute difference, right? Why not just run 2 yards beyond the sticks? This way, in case you're coming back to the ball, you're still at the first down marker, right? Instead of being 2 yards short. So just little things like that can literally be the difference. And as you saw it there, between getting a first down or punting, right? So, and it also just feels like the script that the 49ers have been following this entire time. And granted, like we mentioned, they're missing Trent Williams, they're missing Ricky Pearsall, but it's early downs, they're getting it to either Christian McCaffrey or George Kittle. And then in 3rd down, it's like Jawan Jennings or Demarcus Robinson, they're trying to target the outside. So they've been kind of very predictable, and that could just be because of the way Seattle's playing them, and they're forcing them into these looks where they're like, we're not going to let you beat us with Christian McCaffrey or George Kittle on 3rd down, which is fair, right? You don't want, if you're playing the Eagles,
I would say
you would want Jalen Hurts to target Jahan Dotson instead of being able to target A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, right? So kind of a similar situation there, but the 49ers, I think, needs to be a little bit more aggressive and pushing the ball down the field on early downs and not just waiting for third down, which is what we've kind of seen the Eagles do at times this season as well.
Yeah, maybe maybe a few too many times. Just a couple. But if they could change, I saw somebody say a long time ago, but it was actually pretty funny. I just didn't get to it. He said hopefully KP had the ghosts of what Christmas past, present, future, whatever visit him, and he's changed his ways. So if you're a Christmas Carol Charles Dickens fan or anything like that, I kind of like that analogy, but maybe so. Just trolling everybody, ready to go off script. The Eagles offense, I want to believe that it's going to be like markedly different and improved. I think it can be improved. I just don't think that it's to the drastic extreme that some people are like, no, just wait. Like, we're going to get in the playoffs and Jalen out of the straitjacket and this thing's going to be humming. I mean, it'd be phenomenal. I'll gladly admit I was wrong, and we certainly all want that. But I'm just hoping and thinking it's possible to at least have just a little bit of an improved offense, a little bit of a more aggressive operation, better sequencing. If that means Sirianni's the one making the play calls or involved, fine, so be it. But whatever it takes to just be, average, basically. Here we go for Seattle. Ball in the 32. 4:30 to play in the third quarter, up 10-3. Darnold trips and falls, fumble football, and Seattle is able to recover it. Oh my gosh, that was a whew. Man, the Seattle fans are very, very concerned in that moment. I was at first like, what on earth is going on? Because he's stumbling, and rather than hold on to it, maybe to play it safe, he still tries to reach out, and I mean, that's a complete botch there, but fortunately for the Niners, I couldn't tell who that was trying to recover it, but was not able to hang on, and Seattle's going to keep the ball, this time a loss of 7, though.
Yeah, it looked like Sam Darnold got tripped up on his own center's foot there, or his right foot hit the center's left foot as the center was pushed back a little bit, and just a completely botched operation that results in a loss of 7 yards for the Seahawks.
Well, you know what? I think they'll take the fact that even though it's a loss of 7 yards, they still have the football. Darnold over the middle, dangerous pass there. That one's incomplete, intended for Barner, but Bethune almost had another opportunity for an interception.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this to the start of this drive. I mean, almost a fumble, then almost an interception in the very next play. Now the Seahawks, after a hot start in that first half, and they're facing a 3rd and 17 here late in the third quarter.
See, this is the Darnold that we all know. This is the Darnold that eventually you will get in the playoffs. So, I mean, I think both teams, and judging by the comments as well, I think both teams are doing enough to make people go, I would take either one of those if and when, whenever we could play against those. Kenneth Walker, right side, and there's going to be a first down. Are you kidding me? That is a screen pass, not much going. I mean, he had some blockers, but able to follow the blocks, make one man miss, and picks up 19 yards for a first down on 3rd and 17.
It's funny because that play is actually designed for Abraham Lucas to be one of his lead blockers, and he just ran all the way to the sideline. Kenneth Walker didn't even use him and was still able to get the first down. So just another big gain. John Lynch losing his mind in the box up there. 3rd and 17 and surrendering that. That's just a backbreaker as the Seahawks are now near midfield.
Seeing John Lynch crashing out in the box is pretty hilarious. First down now over the middle, complete JSN. And that's a big first down there, gain of 19 yards up to the San Francisco 37. So just like that, was faced with a 3rd and 17, looked like a for sure opportunity for the Niners to get the ball back, and now they are well into 49ers territory.
Yep, as I mentioned earlier, you get those runs going. They're kind of using, once their left tackle went out, they've been using the screen game as an extension of the running game, right? Which still brings the defense down. And now you're able to, off the play action, go over the top to JSN, crossing the middle of the field for a big gain.
5 catches, 71 yards for JSN. 2:25 to play in the third quarter. 7 on play clock. 6 play action. Darnold has some time looking over the middle. Now dumps it off right side to Charbonnet. Has some room up to the 30. Makes the first man miss. Stays in bounds and able to pick up the first down before, I guess he stepped out there at the 26, I think. I was looking for a spot, but about 11 yards.
Do these Seahawks skill position players do like tap dancing classes or something like that? Some of this footwork along the sideline has been really impressive. JSN in the first half, now Charbonnet dancing along the sideline in the second half. That was a that was a pretty big gain and an agile movement for the big running back there.
Yeah, it's impressive for them, like you say, but it's also like the Niners players sometimes are kind of just like close, and it's as if they're just he's going out of bounds. Then all of a sudden, like, oh nope, he picked up another 4 or 5 yards.
They're playing flag football out there. They're just like reaching around
Yeah,
them. I don't know what they're doing. I would love to see the total of missed tackles for the 49ers defense after this game. I mean, 49ers fans probably don't want to look at that. They might want to close their eyes in that regard, but it's got to be in the double digits at this point.
oh yeah, easily. Which again, I think is why a lot of the comments are saying, yeah, I wouldn't mind playing San Francisco, the way that this one's going. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 25. There's an injury on the field. Bethune was down on the play, so seeing about that.
Yeah, but even with the Seahawks, despite how good their defenses look, the offense just kind of, I know they're putting up a ton of yardage, but they're not able to finish these possessions so far. So I really feel the same way I felt going into this game, where I think the Eagles could beat either team. I don't really feel like I would divert from that plan after seeing this performance from both teams tonight.
I agree for sure. And we're biased, obviously, but it's not to say that, that anyone could beat anyone. Either side, from what we've seen, if they show up and play like we know they're capable, then absolutely. Just a question of if that happens. Darnold going to be throwing here, and right side, it's batted down and complete, brings up 2nd down.
Yeah, another play where they had JSN actually in the backfield, working out of the backfield as a receiver instead of lined up outside or in the slot. So they didn't get to him, but he looked like he was going down the middle of the field from the backfield.
Yeah, some interesting looks on the play. That was almost a chance, I guess. Kind of a pick. It was a swatted down with both hands, but Collins.
Like he almost unintentionally picked that up.
Yeah.
He just swallowed it up in his hands.
He almost ate that football. Handoff here. Charbonnet up the middle. Has multiple Niners immediately met in the middle and picks up about 1 yard. So got a 3rd and 9 from the San Francisco 24.
Yeah, I believe that was Malik Collins, who was the guy that just almost had the interception. Now he's just able to stop Charbonnet for nearly no gain on 2nd down. So back-to-back big plays by the big man for the 49ers defense.
There we go. Alfred Collins, not Malik Collins.
Oh, Alfred Collins. Sorry.
Yes. Yep.
Sorry about that.
I know who you're talking about.
I feel like Malik Collins has moved around the league so much that I forget where he's playing now.
3rd and 9. Do the Seahawks get conservative, or do they stay aggressive here and try to throw the football? They will throw it left side. Rashid Shaheed was the intended target. And did they not call a flag on that?
They threw it late.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
They threw it late.
I was going to say, looked like there was a little bit of holding on that one.
I think Rashid Shaheed threw enough of a hissy fit after the play to finally draw a late flag from that official near the end zone.
See, and some people have been saying, the Eagles fans anyway, have been saying like, hey, AJ needs to do that more. Whenever he gets a penalty, throw a little bit more of a fit. Does it help? I don't know, possibly, but that one's blatantly obvious.
Yeah, I mean, usually even during the play, he throws his arms up, which is usually enough to draw that penalty. Like, look at me. Even like the defensive linemen do it a lot of times to draw holding penalties, but finally came in late there, which was the right call.
Yep. 1st down at the 17 of the Niners now. 51 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. This is going to be a handoff up the middle of Kenneth Walker. Nothing going. A loss of 2 yards on the play back to the 19.
This 49ers defense, I just can't figure them out. They'll get a TFL and look like they're heading in the right direction, and the next thing you know, they get gashed for 7 or 8 yards next run. So they've been all over the place. But in the red zone, backed up, this is where they need to show up the most and limit Seattle to a field goal.
Yep. Well, that's the thing that we continue to talk about. Is like they have the Niners have an average run defense. Pass defense is terrible, but they've been so spotty at this. This time's a little trickery or a little interesting shovel pass to Charbonnet on a delay. Picks up 5 yards up to the San Francisco 14, and that should be the last play of the 3rd quarter, and it is. So 3rd and 17, ball on the 14 is where the Seahawks will have it when we come back for the 4th quarter.
Yeah, once again, they just try and have to get a little creative because it seems like the traditional running game isn't as consistent as it was in that first half. So they do a little bit of that Dallas Goedert shovel pass, but they go to Charbonnet this time, and they pick up a couple yards. So They should be able to at least get a field goal here, but after Myers missed earlier, I grant this would be a lot closer than that one was. But you have to wonder in the back of their mind if they think that maybe a touchdown here would almost ice the game for the Seahawks with the fourth quarter, the way that their defense has been playing. If you're up 14 this late, heading into the fourth quarter, I feel like they'd probably feel really good. So will they settle for just a field goal and take that, or will they try and push and get aggressive on fourth down?
It might be enough. You're right, especially the way the game's been going. But man, I mean, time of possession, there's still 10 minutes more than the Niners. They've only given up 105 yards of offense. Seattle with 268, and like we said, could easily be up 20-3 right now. They've just botched some opportunities. Still not a bad position. Michael, what's up, man? With the 5 says, just got here from the Sixers game. There you go. What's the story with these offenses that are supposedly so dangerous? Sorry if you're repeating. Juiced for tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke about it in the game preview video that everybody should check out after the stream. Go check out Josh's latest video where I talked about how I was scared of the 49ers because of how hot their offense was heading into this game. Now, obviously, we see how they're performing against the Seahawks defense, which is right up there with obviously the Eagles defense, or maybe the Eagles defense is even better, depending on who you ask. But yeah, it's not a good look for this San Fran offense. And I know they're missing Trent Williams. They're missing Ricky Pearsall, who they might have in the playoffs. So that could make things look a lot different. But you would expect them to put up more than 3 points against the Seattle defense, despite how good they are. And then also, Seattle's offense has been able to move the ball. They just haven't been able to capitalize and actually score when it matters. They missed the field goal. They had a touchdown that they should have had that they didn't get. So it's been rough sledding for both offenses tonight. But a lot of credit to Seattle's defense as well.
Yeah, it's all and it's hard to say too. Like I do think we're all in agreement. Obviously, like Seattle, great defense. Doesn't necessarily matter opponent wise, but even San Francisco and why it's a, I don't know, lower scoring game, some weird stuff that's gone on, like division battle and familiarity, because it even makes me think of sometimes you get the really close games, defensive struggle, and then other times you get like a shootout. And you saw that even last year, the Commanders, right? The first time that the Eagles and the Commanders played, it was a lower scoring game, and the second time you had more high scoring. There's some injuries and whatnot, and then the NFC Championship game. So interesting to say, but Seattle has not allowed basically anything. It feels like the Niners have to at least limit to a field goal here. 3rd and 7. Darnold's going to take the snap, rolling right, pressure, gets it away to his tight end, but a good tackle made there, and that's going to be short of the line to gain. Stout with another good tackle, only a gain of 1. It's 4th and 6 at the Niners' 13.
Yeah, the 49ers went back to a look that I said earlier in the game that they were probably going to go back to, which is where they showed both of those middle linebackers in that A gap and looking like they were going to send 6. Ended up both of those guys dropped out. They kind of screwed with the offensive line and which assignment they were going to take, who they were going to block, and he was put under pressure, and Sam Darnold had to settle for a short gain. And now Jason Myers will kick another field goal.
See if he can make it. 1 for 2 on the day. This one the shortest by far of those 3, and its kick is up and good. So 10-point game, 2 possession.
Yeah, I know the touchdown would have been better, obviously, there for the Seahawks, but the way that their defense has been playing, limiting the 49ers to just 3 points thus far, they probably feel pretty darn good with 14 minutes left in this game being up 10 points. They probably feel like this is almost as close to being on ice for the Seahawks as possible for them.
It's true. And, there are some people, Eagles people maybe, that can you win a game? Dare you win a game on the road against a really, I mean, they're pretty good offense in the 49ers, but can you win a game by scoring 13 points?
Is that the new magic number? Is that what we're saying right now?
Maybe 13? So. First one to 13.
That would be the ugliest playoff run ever if the Eagles just win
Gosh.
Granted, nobody would be complaining if they won the Super Bowl, winning every game by scoring 13 points. But it would be hilarious.
You say nobody would be. There would be some complaining. There would for sure, because there's way too much pessimism out there.
There would
I hear what you're saying. Yes.
Like, Nick Sirianni won back-to-back Super Bowls, but the offense only scored 13 points, so he's got to go. You got to hire this guy. Like that would definitely still be a topic. So you're right. Who am I kidding by saying nobody would be complaining? But it just goes to show
satisfied. But yes,
that people say this formula doesn't work. It doesn't work against the best of the best, and it literally just worked against the Bills on the road. And now we're seeing Seattle being able to do it against the Niners for the battle for the literal 1 seed in the NFC. So the people that say you can't win putting up only 13 points, maybe it's time to rethink that. Is it ideal? Obviously not.
No,
Can you win? Yes.
that's true. Now there's still a quarter left, so it could
It
get
could end up being
crazy.
a
You know,
31-30
it could
game.
be,
Who knows?
yeah. And all of a sudden we'll be like, well, okay. But the way that this thing's headed, it does look that. I'm kind of, I guess either way, I don't care too much of how I've been rooting for, a little bit of the Seahawks to win just because of the way it could shake up. But ultimately, the bigger one is if the Eagles could somehow get the second seed, which, reminder for those people just joining or haven't been totally on top of it, the only way that happens, the Eagles win and the Bears lose tomorrow. So you got to root for both those things. We'll see. But the fact that it's 13-3 right now, and I think for me the best thing is that it's good weather. Because the Eagles one you can write off a little bit and say, yeah, but it was windy, it was super cold weather. You had the rain factor. You've had that in multiple games in terms of the wind. But like Buffalo was a torrential downpour. So like, sure, if there's a little bit of struggling offense for both sides, that makes sense. The game that we've been watching here, the Seahawks and Niners, weather's not playing a factor. Like there's not a big enough concern of anything that's going on weather-wise to say, oh, well, this is limiting these teams. And, about a quarter left. We'll see. Here's the return from the Niners, though, and this time Brian Robinson takes it up to the 30-yard line, so one of the best field positions for the Niners in the game so far, and they will have it 1st and 10.
Yeah, it feels like the Niners have been starting like every drive inside their own 10-yard line, where the Seahawks have been like at least at the 30-yard line. So that has been a big kind of storyline in this game too. Starting field position has definitely not been in the 49ers' favor.
Just got very fortunate, the Seahawks did, with the fumble and then the recovery, which almost lost by Sam Darnold and assisted by Charbonnet. They're able to turn that into 3 points. Could be one of the points. If you go back and look at this game, you say that could be one of the game changers, the fact that was not recovered by the Niners. But we'll see. Purdy going to throw on 1st down, more pressure, rolling out right side, going to throw deep down the field, has a man complete, and that's a big gain there. George Kittle getting behind the defense, kind of lost a gain of 20 yards up to the 50-yard line.
Once again, they kind of took a page out of the Seahawks book there, where they had Christian McCaffrey technically in the backfield, but he was out wide. That kind of changed all the assignments for these Seahawks defenders on that right side. It ended up creating a huge hole for George Kittle kind of in that intermediate area of the field.
Man, that was, if I'm not mistaken, that was the biggest play of the game for the Niners. So 20
they
yards.
only had 105 yards.
I mean, it's not saying much, but here's Purdy going to try to throw, and he's going to take off and run actually now. He's got some space and going to be able to shift around and pick up a 1st down. So there's another 1st down, back-to-back plays, and a game that they have not been able to get anything going, and it's 1st and 10 at the Seattle 39-yard line.
Yeah, suddenly the 49ers are on the move. It felt like they couldn't move the ball at all. They finally started the game and started the drive in some good field position, and they're taking advantage of it with back-to-back 1st downs. They only had 5 1st downs before this drive, and now they have 1st downs on back-to-back plays.
Who are we kidding? You can't win a game scoring 13 points. Come on. 12:55 to play in the 4th quarter. Handoff. McCaffrey has a little bit of space and going to fight forward for a gain of 3 yards, maybe 4, we'll call it, up to the Seattle 35.
Kind of a weird play. He hit a speed boost where he slowed down for a second, and then looked like he was going to get tackled for barely any gain, and then was able to still get 4 yards off of it. So it looked like it was going to be a short run for the Niners, but he was able to make more out of it.
Yep. See if the Niners can capitalize on this drive. I mean, technically, the way this one's playing out, even if they just get 3 points, then you're back to a 1-possession game. But this time, pass to the right side, going to be complete. A screen, kind of a bubble screen all set up to Demarcus Robinson. That's another 1st down. So well inside Seattle territory, now approaching the red zone.
Yep, easily the best drive of the game for the 49ers. Oh, looks like we got some extracurricular activity along the sideline between Devin Weatherspoon and Jawan Jennings. Yeah, they're having to be broken up by the referee. Doesn't look like any penalties, but definitely some drawing after the play between those two.
Imagine that. 2 division teams fighting for the 1 seed. Not super surprised. He just takes him all the way into the bench. Just blocking, carrying him that way.
That was like a clip out of The Blind Side, right? Where
Yeah.
Michael Orr in the movie, he walks the guy all the way through the end zone. Juwan Jennings was trying to do that with Witherspoon,
He
but
just didn't even
he brought
stop.
him to Seattle's sideline. Probably not the best area for him to have a numbers advantage there.
Yeah, not necessarily. Purdy going to throw again, see if they can keep this going. This time throws right side complete. That's a big one there to Jennings, actually. So a little fired up on the sideline before. Goes to him on this play, and that's a gain of 15 yards. And don't look now, but we got a first and goal at the Seattle 10-yard line.
Yeah, and it's almost the same exact area where George Kittle caught a pass earlier in the drive, right? They attack that middle of the they use Christian McCaffrey to draw that and take away that underneath defender and then just throw over top of him to George Kittle before and now Juwan Jennings where the safety wasn't there in time.
Can the Niners capitalize here? I got pistol formation, handoff McCaffrey up the middle, gain of about 3 yards, so second and goal at, we'll say, well, maybe the 6-yard line now.
They've been able to kind of move the ball through the air this entire time. Are they going to continue to pass it here or just try and pound the ball with Christian McCaffrey where he hasn't really been able to get a ton of big runs yet, but they're in the red zone now. So if they could even just take those little gains one at a time, they could eventually get in the end zone as well.
See what they have called up. Purdy in the gun. McCaffrey to his right. Going to take the snap. He will throw. 4-man pressure. Right side. Hits McCaffrey, and it's picked off. You got to be kidding me. That bounces off of McCaffrey's hands. He had the catch. I mean, he might have scored there. He bobbles it, and Thomas is able to pick that off. Are you serious? Oh, that's terrible. That's a terrible beat for Seattle. I mean, I don't care, but that's terrible.
I mean, that's a rough spot for Christian McCaffrey to drop the ball, and it's almost reminiscent of that Saquon Barkley drop. I mean, I know it didn't result in an interception, but just a completely unfortunate bounce where it just goes right into the. It almost looked like McCaffrey intentionally tossed it into the defender's hands.
It does, yeah. I mean, he's right there.
What an unfortunate break for the Niners when they were having their best drive of the game. They had 64 yards before that play on that drive. Before that drive, they only had 105 yards in the entire game. So easily their best and their most positive drive of the game, unfortunately gets ruined by a drop by their best player. And now Seattle still holds that 10-point lead.
That is crazy. Oh, my gosh. So 10:21 to play in the fourth quarter. Handoff, Charbonnet up the middle, going nowhere. So gain of, I mean, maybe they give him a yard, but it'll be at the 4-yard line. They're backed up well into their, almost to their end zone. That is just insane. I mean, going back to that play, like you said, it's one of those sometimes there's a force by the defense, and you give them some credit, because it's like, okay, they either put a hit on or you batted the ball, whatever the case may be. That one is just like sheer luck, basically. I mean, McCaffrey just handing it to you.
Yeah, just another unfortunate break for the 49ers. But what a play by the defender, too, right? To actually realize that the ball was right there, snatch it, get his feet in bounds because he was close to the sideline. So, and now Sam Darnold hits JSN for a comeback route along the left sideline to kind of get them out of the shadow of their own end zone. So now this is where the clock starts to factor in, right? Where the Niners are down 2 possessions. It's under 10 minutes remaining now. I know the Niners have their 3 timeouts now, but can you march down the field and score twice when you need to make up that much ground? So I'm sure that the Seahawks are going to take their time getting to the line each play and really run the clock on this drive. That's going to be their biggest focus.
Yep. It's got a ball up to the 17-yard line now. 9:07 to play, 8 on the play clock. Darnold handoff, left side. Not much room for Charbonnet. Picks up 2 yards, so 2nd and 8 coming up.
Yeah, the biggest thing now, whenever they run the ball, he's got to make sure Sam Darnold doesn't trip on his own offensive lineman again and causing a fumble. So if they can just get these clean handoffs, that they should be getting at least 2 yards a run and be able to run the clock a little bit more. Hopefully, not even give the Niners the ball back with 5 minutes or so remaining if things go well on this drive.
Man, what a complete botch! I mean that drop interception there. I mean, literally may cost them the 1 seed and their division. Still time.
There's definitely going to be some memes with that where it's going to be like the first seed in his hands and then it's
just letting it go. Darnold going to take off and run after not really much places to go. Able to pick up 6 yards, though. Brings up a 3rd and 2 at the Seattle 25.
Second time this game, Sam Darnold's kind of been under pressure but been able to pick up some yardage and kind of avoid negative situations. He has taken an ugly sack or 2 in this game where he should have got rid of the ball, but he's also been able to kind of scramble and use his legs at times to get them into 3rd and manageable.
13-3. 7:50 to play in the fourth quarter. 15 seconds on the play clock. Seahawks facing another third down, 4 for 9 on the game so far. Average to go on those distances, 7.1 yards. This one's shorter, a 3rd and 2. Darnold in the gun. Charbonnet to his right, motions Cup on his left side in trips formation. Takes the snap, pressure coming, gets it away. It's complete, and that is Cup, a first down. Gain of about 5 yards up to the 30, maybe 31-yard line. Move the chains.
Yeah, they brought him in that little pre-snap motion, just give him a little bit enough of an edge on the cornerback, and he was able to get the first down there. So, and it looks like another player down for the 49ers. So they've had a couple defenders already leave the game, and now it looks like they might be taking another injury timeout here with 7 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter.
Bethune injured. So I think that may be I think that's like the third play, the third time in the game that he's gone down and been injured. I don't know, maybe if it's the same injury or something different, but been a rough one.
He's on the Lane Johnson injury plan where he's just dealing with something different each time. Maybe kept going in and out of the game, coming back. It's almost worse sometimes to have a player in that scenario where they're coming in and out of the game instead of just being ruled out and being outright replaced by somebody, so you can get into the flow of the game. I mean, you can't knock a guy for trying to play, right? But at the same time, it's almost like if you're not 100%, like we got to hold you out, and especially with the playoffs around the corner. So.
That's for sure. Dimons with a 2. What's up? Says, I'm back. What'd I miss? Well,
not a lot of offense.
I was going to say, some good defense, some botched opportunities. Christian McCaffrey, I would say fumbling away, but really handing away the division, perhaps.
If you wanted to see the Eagles-Bills game again, but in different uniforms, this is the game for you, pretty much. The Seahawks or the Eagles.
It's kind of fair.
The 49ers or the Bills. It's kind of they were billed as this high-scoring offense that was unstoppable, and they haven't been able to move the ball at all against the Seattle defense. So kind of a similar mirror match all over again.
It would be kind of funny if this game ends up coming down to it, and it's like, 13. I guess what would be I guess it'd be like 13-10 or something like that, But it's like basically the same score line and something late. Yeah, you say, well, so far it looks like the same. And people, you go look at all the predictions, and not that I didn't predict any score. I don't think either of us predicted any score for this game, but I'm just saying, like, nationally, you look at the predictions for the scores of this game, the vast majority was like 30-26, 27-24, 28-24, like somewhere in that range. And the fact that we got 7 minutes remaining, Seattle has the football, they're up 13-3. It's possible, I guess, but it would take something just ridiculous to have some scoring just break out in the final 7 minutes of the game. So more than likely, you're going to look at a very low-scoring game here, and it's the proof point. You see the Niners doing really well on offense. They're beating people. They're scoring. They went an entire month without punting the football. It seems incredible. Sounds incredible. That's what happened. So, kudos to their offense, but it only takes a little bit of time, and all of a sudden, you're like, all right, well, defense holding serve. They play against a better defense for the first time in forever. And, I mean, so far, that's what we've seen, 13-3.
As my favorite basketball player of all time, Kevin Garnett, says, anything is possible, right? And you're seeing that in this game. People said you can't beat the 49ers by only scoring 13 points. Mm-hmm. And the Seahawks might do exactly that. So we'll see if they're able to get it done.
Right, there's a big run out of the break in the action. Kenneth Walker, gain of 11 yards, so another first down, this time up to the 41-yard line. And I would say that I know that there's still, just under 7 minutes now remaining in the fourth quarter, but it does feel like the Seahawks are getting a little bit slower to come up to the line, a little bit slower to snap the football, because they realize how many possessions that are left, and the Niners have not really moved the ball so much, so might be time just continue handing off to the running backs. There's going to be another handoff. There you go. Kenneth Walker up the middle, breaks 2 tackles, and that almost looks identical to the last play. He picks up another 11 yards and another first down.
Yep, I had just said that ideally the Seahawks will be giving the 49ers the ball back with around 5 minutes to go, but it's now first down for the Seahawks. It's going to be under 6 minutes to go by the time they snap the ball, and Kenneth Walker back-to-back runs for a first down. If you notice when he runs, he realizes that these 49ers players are going low at his feet, and he's kind of keeping his feet up high with those big high steps, and that's why he's able to get so many yards per carry against this 49ers defense.
15 carries, 97 yards for Kenneth Walker. Charbonnet, Not bad himself either. Quite a bit. Here's Charbonnet now. Going to be play action, though. Darnold looking over the middle. He'll throw it to Charbonnet. Makes the catch. Tries to break a tackle, but can't. Still able to pick up about 6 yards. So brings up 2nd and 4 at the San Francisco 42. The clock continues to run.
Yeah, another unique look for the Seahawks there. They had Cooper Kupp motion into the backfield as like a fullback, but then they passed out of that look. So ideally, you probably don't want to run behind Cooper Kupp as a fullback, but it's just another way to give him like a different release, keep the defense in weird positions. Maybe you're bringing a corner into that box and able to run at it.
$5:10 to play in the fourth quarter. Clock continues to run. Handoff Charbonnet, left side, and just continues to push. Good hole, 6 yards, first down, up to the San Francisco 36.
The way the Seahawks are moving the ball right now, they might end up just running out of field because of the way that they're moving the ball, but they might be able to just run the clock out and just never give it back to the 49ers. They're just getting a first down on the ground at will. Eventually, the 49ers are going to have to use their timeouts just to even have a chance to get the ball back with the way Seattle's moving the ball right now.
Nothing crazy impressive from Sam Darnold. I mean, but right now, 19 for 24, 174 yards, no turnovers, close to having one for the fumble, close to having one for another interception that was not. But 1st and 10, going to throw, play action, and that was almost picked off. I think he was out of bounds. Incomplete.
That's a play where Kubiak's gonna be like, you know what? Let's just run the ball. Let's not do that again and risk a turnover.
Yeah.
It seems like that's the only. He just got his left foot. He couldn't get his right foot down. But you don't want to risk that in this area because just a couple more yards, you'll be in field goal territory where you're forced the Niners to now have to get 2 touchdowns with probably like less than 4 minutes left to go when they get the ball. So probably a good idea to get a little bit conservative here and run the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those where, again, every team's got the second-guessing play calls and everything there, like, as this is a run to Kenneth Walker for no gain, so now 3rd and 10. I get that you're trying to keep the defense off balance, and yes, they just stopped you for no gain there, but you've been running the football so well. It feels like why get, like, I don't know, why change things up? If they're going to let you keep getting 10, 11 yards a carry, run it until you do finally get, okay, hey, there's a no gain, and then maybe change things up. But I don't know. They didn't do that. San Francisco is going to take their first timeout, try to save a little bit of clock because there's about 4:12 remaining.
Yeah, especially at this point where it seems like, this is going to sound crazy to say, but the scoreboard almost doesn't even matter right now. It's more of like how much time is left, right? So if you could just force them to either just use all of their timeouts before they get the ball back, because you're up 10 already. It's not like you need to score here to be up 2 possessions. So if you can give them the ball back with 3 minutes left, they have no timeouts. It's nearly impossible to score the way that they've been moving the ball in that scenario to score twice. So I think just run there. I know it's conservative, and we bash Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo for doing that same exact thing when they get a big lead. But you have to kind of read the tea leaves and see how your defense is operating and know the situation, especially at this late in the fourth quarter.
3rd and 12. 4:12 to play in the fourth quarter. Ball on the 36 of San Francisco. See what Darnold is going to do here. San Francisco does have 2 timeouts remaining. Darnold takes the snap, going to try to throw, rolling right side, looking downfield. He'll try to throw back across his body, complete, and that's a big first down all the way up to the 12-yard line. Cooper Kupp, 24 yards, and that, I mean, there's still time, but that feels like that's the ultimate backbreaker.
Yeah, I don't think Cooper Kupp had any catches before this drive, right? And now he has 2 big catches on this drive. So a good time for him to step up. And it's a weird because it felt like the 49ers should have brought more than 4 rushers on a play like that, especially, but they opted to just send 4. Sam Darnold's able to make the one guy miss, get outside of the pocket, and then find Cooper Kupp for a big first down.
Yeah, this is a Niners team that can't get much pressure, has not had much success there. They have gotten to Darnold a couple times tonight, but I mean, overall, we keep saying this, but like the defense you're seeing tonight is the same defense that it's been even throughout the win streak. But sometimes wins and offenses putting up 40 points is like, you don't care as much. You're like, oh, the defense is fine. It's not good. It's not, great by any means, but it's still more than good enough because of the offense. So far, not a whole lot of resistance, even with the Seahawks saying, oh, well, they only scored 13 points. Here's a play on first down, handoff Charbonnet, 3 yards. It'll get up to the 9-yard line, and the timeout there by the Niners will be the last of the game for them. So they're out of timeouts, and 3:57 to play in the fourth quarter.
Yep, and now you see the Seahawks getting heavy there with 2 tight ends and a fullback in the game. They're just probably going to try and run, and see if the Niners can stop them. Well, because now obviously they can't stop the clock either. So this might be a situation where the Niners just, I don't know, try and pull their guys back and let them score. But even then, that would just make it a 3-possession game. So tough situation for the Niners to be in right now.
That it is Stott Pie, I think, with a 2 dagger. There's the super chat there, dagger from the play. It feels like it. Feels like that was the one. So it's looking very likely that if the Rams beat the Cardinals, then the Eagles will be playing San Francisco at the Link in 2 weeks. Here's another run. Charbonnet, left side. Just hold on to the football now is really important for Seattle, as he does. Brought down at the 6-yard line, and it'll be 3rd and 4. San Francisco can't stop the clock.
And this is the random nugget for those Eagles sickos that are out there. On the previous play, if you saw number 38 in the game for Seattle, that was Brady Russell, former Eagles undrafted tight end signing, who they let go. Some people were excited when he initially joined the team, but didn't turn out to be much for the Eagles. But he has carved out a role in Seattle for himself.
Looky there. That's why you should be following Anthony. He's got all the nuggets. 0 fumbles for Zach Charbonnet and 521 touches. They show that on the screen.
Whenever they show that, you know that's
as they hand it off to Charbonnet, this time up the middle, and it almost looked like he was trying to not score there. He
I mean, they can get another first down, which is he might try to pull the old Ahmad Bradshaw and slide down.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't fall backwards into the end zone, but
that I mean, I'm just saying
he probably was coached to do that.
Yeah, because I was just saying it clearly looked like if he had wanted to score, he could have just powered through up the middle. I mean, no, he's trying to dance a little bit, but yeah, we'll see. It's they're lined up here now on 4th and 1. Looks like they're gonna act like they're gonna sneak it. I don't know if they are. Barner trying to do hard count to get him to jump, and 1 on the play clock, 0, and I think they're gonna take a interesting delay of game.
Yeah, they're just gonna kick the field goal here, I guess. And
yeah.
Force the Niners to have to score 2 touchdowns with 2 minutes left to go. I feel like that's the right call. 2 minutes, no timeouts. If the Niners can score 2 touchdowns in that scenario, then they deserve it. Unfortunately, we won't be able to say that a team won by scoring only 13 points. So that kind of messes with that narrative there. But
but 16, right? We beat the Lions by 16, 16-9. So this one could be 16-3, 16-10. Depending on what San Francisco does on their final drive?
Yeah, I'll probably fire up some sarcastic tweet saying, like, I thought the Eagles were the only team that could win by scoring 16 points or something like that to get some people upset. So we'll see.
Here's the kick, and he missed it. It's going to be 13. He just missed what was that? How far was that?
I jinxed
26-yard field goal? Are you serious?
I definitely jinxed him there.
Oh, my gosh. A 26-yarder? Well, it will be 13. Yeah, I mean, can a team win by scoring 13 points? That's insane.
At least Jason Myers waited till after the fantasy playoffs to miss all these field goals because he's had a rough night. He had the kickoff go out of bounds, now 2 missed field goals. But this almost might be a positive thing because now the 49ers have to drive almost the entirety of the field with no timeouts to get their first score instead of potentially starting at like the 30-yard line. So almost could be a good thing for the Seahawks as well.
I mean, honestly, I think would be, because they have to go full length of the field. Still won't be enough. Purdy thrown over the middle, hit as he throws, intended for Robinson. That's incomplete.
Oh, it looked like he hurt his thumb or something there too. He was giving it a little kiss, maybe cut it on a helmet or something. Yeah, he's definitely looking at his thumb.
That's so crazy, though, the fact that, he does throw and hit it on Seattle helmet there. Interesting. Keep an eye on that. Seems to be okay. He's still in the game, but 2:16 to play. Purdy going to throw again here over left side. McCaffrey caught, not able to get out of bounds. Good tackle him and worry, and that'll probably take us to the 2-minute warning. They're going to try to hurry up to get another playoff, but that's probably the 2-minute warning there.
So once again, really technically sound tackling by the Seattle secondary, right? We've seen it all game long where they don't allow anything after the catch, and similar to the Eagles defense, I know my guy Adoree Jackson gets a lot of flack for his lack of tackling, but he's been better in recent weeks. He's been able to make most of the tackles that have went in his direction, but I think that's the one area where the Seattle defense is better than the Eagles, is their tackling is where the Eagles can sometimes, depending on the player, can miss here and there. But the Seattle defense as a whole is really sound tackling.
Yeah, they've been lights out, which is why you could win a game scoring 13 points.
You could say it again. The narrative is alive,
Just
baby.
saying. It's greatness that he missed that field goal. I mean, and that it's so short, too. Like, if it was a 40 or 50-yarder, then it'd be like, okay, well, to miss it on a 26, was it? That's just, what's happening?
He said, Jake Elliott, hold my drink. Watch this.
Yeah, I'll miss it from 26.
Missed the, 48-yarder, kicked a kickoff out of bounds, and now missed basically an extra point. It's like, come on, you got to.
Not a great day
you gotta be
for
better
Myers.
than that.
Not the best.
Especially like you mentioned, not in like any kind of downpour or anything like that. It's just barely any wind, it seemed like. It can't happen.
Well, it is, like I said, getting very close to officially. There's still 2 minutes to play whenever the Niners come back, but they'd have to get 2 scores, just something crazy, ridiculous miracle for them to have that happen. So, I mean, the Eagles, they could get a lot of help. They could be the 2 seed. It may not even matter, but more than likely, percentage-wise, it's going to be the Rams or the 49ers, and it'll basically come down to the Rams. Sean McVay saying that he was going to play his starters no matter what. He'll definitely play his starters now. So, if there's any question about that, a chance to be the 5 seed and go play Carolina or Tampa, he would absolutely take one of those teams instead. So, I would be shocked if the Rams do not beat the Cardinals, which would mean that, for all intents and purposes, the most realistic scenarios, I think, as we're looking at them right now currently, would be the Eagles either play the 49ers or they play the Packers. Things need to happen, yes, but I'm just saying, you look at who's projected to beat who by, more than likely, that's where the thing's headed.
Yeah, that's a pretty favorable scenario for the Eagles, and making this 49ers team that just scored 3 points, probably maybe a little bit more if they can score here, but 3 points at home, making them travel across the country to play your well-rested defense and offense. I think the Eagles will take that for sure.
Here's a play on 3rd and 6, and left side intended for Kittle, incomplete. Pretty good coverage there on the play from, I think that was Job, actually. Yeah, so incomplete 4th and 6.
Former Eagles legend, Josh Jobe, gets the pass breakup against the eventual Hall of Fame tight end, probably, in George Kittle. Big moment for the former Eagles legend.
Good for him. 1:55 to play. Most importantly, 4th and 6. They got to get the first down, or it is for sure a game over. Snap for Purdy. Pressure coming. Gets it away. Hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. That's going to be it. That'll be the ball game. And you wonder, that was a shot on Purdy. He's down on the ground. I think he's not going to get up here. Uh-oh. Oh, this would be even worse for the Niners.
And if you remember earlier in this same drive, he hurt his thumb on a helmet, and now he takes a shot on this 4th down too that results in an incomplete.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he gets like sandwiched on the play. Oh, but
he's a player he got hit in the ribs and the elbow. He's a player that's dealt with a lot of injuries in the past. He's dealt with injuries this season. So this is definitely not what the 49ers want to see to close out this game.
No, I mean, he gets hit kind of lower from the guy behind in his back, and then up top he gets hit as well. Yeah, they said his thumb was bleeding when they took the break, but we already knew that, as Anthony was mentioning. But it's more so the shot that I can't tell what he's favoring there. Like, I don't know if that's his leg. He's up and walking off, so I guess he's okay now. He's going to go into the
Yeah.
medical tent to get looked at. But man, that was a violent hit.
Yeah, he was able to jog off the field, it looked like, so he's probably fine, but definitely something to monitor, throughout the week on the injury report and all that, which I will have. Shout out to the PhillySpecialShow.com. I'll have the injury report there. So whoever the Eagles play in the playoffs, I'll have a game
Got you
preview,
covered.
injury report, all that stuff at the website.
There you go. And now we'll get some kneel downs from Sam Darnold, and that'll be it. So 13 points was it. If you had it on your bingo card, winning team scoring 13 points, that's all it would take. Congratulations, you did it. I don't think a lot of people would have said that it was 13 points, but got a couple super chats here. Alfredo with a 2. Do we play Seattle if we get the 2 seed? No. I mean, eventually, at some point, we could play them, which would be like the NFC Championship game. But no, if we get the 2 seed, we're playing the Packers. Seattle's getting the 1 seed, which means they're getting the bye. IBH with the 13-3. I guess both OCs should be fired with the laughing emojis there.
Yeah, not a great showing for either OC in this game. Granted, the Seahawks did move the ball; they just weren't able to. They missed 2 field goals. They had they got a little cute in the red zone where they should have got a touchdown there. So a little bit better of a showing for the Seahawks offense than the scoreboard shows.
Yeah, like we said, I mean, it very, very easily should have been 26-3. I mean, at this point, the missed field goals, like you said, the 1 yard or at the 1, they got cute. The other field goal, the other time of possession, or the in the red zone area, the play calling. So yeah, could have easily been 26-3. LA Kid, 49ers only 3 points. Trash. I mean, they're very beatable, but like every team is, and that's why we've been saying. I mean, regardless of who they get, the Eagles have a great shot, especially because of the defense. You got a blueprint. I like to see this too. Fangio's already watching the film. He's going to get even more, especially once they have locked in who the first round opponent is going to be. But you see what's effective. You see how they limited the Niners. He's going to show that to the squad. The guys are going to be ready. The way the Eagles defense is. So, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't think anything here changed. Of like even like drastically more confidence. But it should, at least for people that are saying like, oh, is there a way to beat a team, as we've been saying, like beat a team with a good offense? Can you hang on in a way or whatnot? Like, we just literally witnessed another Buffalo Eagles game in good weather. It wasn't torrential downpour. Good weather, 13-3. Seahawks are the best team in the NFC. They're the top seed. I don't know if we could say that, but who is?
The Sam Darnold-led Seahawks are the team that you have to go through to win the NFC if you have to travel on the road to the 1 seed. I feel like that's
okay.
Not the worst situation for the Eagles to potentially have to travel on the road to. So
no, not at all.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, I thought it heading into this game. I still think it afterwards, especially afterwards, because I thought the 49ers would have a better offensive showing than they did. But the Eagles can definitely still be the team to come out of the NFC and represent the conference in the Super Bowl.
There we go. Some positivity. We will take it. Okay. Well, normally we have a full breakdown, recap, everything like that. But obviously we're not an Eagles game here. But appreciate you guys hanging out. It was fun. I think we ended up getting like 1,000 or so concurrent, which is pretty cool. Almost 300 likes. And, just a game that had ramifications for the Eagles and how that might impact. So tomorrow we'll have the game stream with Thomas. Eagles Commanders. Again, if they win and the Bears lose, then 2 seed, and it would completely change things even more. But if not,
and don't forget, real quick, don't forget to hit that like button before you leave. I see everybody starting to leave the stream now. Hit that like button, support us. Go spend $5 at Underdog. Use code Philly Special. I actually just won $50 off of my 2 drafts that I did.
Did you? Okay.
$10 each. So
hey,
listen, a nice little $30 come up on a night watching the game along with you guys. That could be you as well. And if Josh hits the goal, then Underdog's will be giving out a pair of tickets to the Super Bowl. So hit the like button, sign up with Underdog. It's the best of both worlds right there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, we're trying to make it happen. I mean, honestly, if we can even just get like close to the 650, like, you guys know me, I'll maybe try to figure out a way to just make it happen. But the goal and what we were told is get 650 signups. So the start of today, We needed like 598 more signups. I'm sure we're at a lot better spot now since the video and mentioning that. But yeah, give it a shot. Sign up with Underdog, scan the QR code, use the link in the description. But appreciate you guys. More videos to come. We'll keep you posted. We do have the video that was dropped early today that is still very relevant because it talks through all the scenarios of who the Eagles could play, why that would matter, potential outcomes, and what the Eagles are looking at for this week. So appreciate it. Everything else, we'll see you guys. And even though it was not the Eagles playing in this game, we'll still end it this way, as always.
Go Birds.